Folks, hello and welcome to the Random Party Generator. I am one of your hosts, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, and with me is none other than Rob Conley, bat in the attic. Dun dun dun. And below, below
Hello,
us is Joe, the lawyer.
I'm here. Hello, guys.
Uh, Joe
How's
is the
everything?
latest YouTube sensation, the breakout star of the OSR.
I am getting good. Yeah, I'm getting good stuff, man. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I'm getting good views, getting good ratings on the videos. A lot of comments. Yeah, for some reason I put out videos. A lot of people comment. I think the last one's like hundreds of comments. So that's kind of neat. It's kind of
No,
neat.
it is certainly very cool, and it's exciting to watch. And I've seen that the topics that are driving the conversation, whether it's for you or for me or for so many others, people listen. Whenever there's an update on one D&D that isn't just
Yeah,
like, oh, there's a new feat, oh, look, but it's an update that actually goes beyond one D&D. You can find people talking about it everywhere on the blog sphere, on N World, on YouTube, on Reddit, and the different takes are interesting. I
mm-hmm.
personally prefer the ones that go beyond just regurgitating what they read and
Yeah,
go a little bit beyond because I like to believe that we've all had experiences in this hobby, especially those of us that have been in the OSR for a dozen years or so, and we've seen the trends. We've seen what happens. I was around for the D&D Next Friends and Family playtest. I saw how wonderful that played out. I remember 4E with the game system license and how well
mm-hmm.
that played out. And it
Mm-hmm.
allows you to see the coming potential or trends. And it's something else I pointed out, like with the open game license 1.1. Now they haven't showed it to us. They've talked about it, and what they've talked about, they are vague enough that things could go in different directions.
Yeah.
And uh, one thing that I don't think anybody's mentioned, but they do refer to it almost like a living document. Did you? I don't know if you noticed that too.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, here's what they're saying, right? It's like you're not going to have to pay royalties unless it's 750, but you got to let them know if you're making more than 50. Now, here's the thing. Why do you give a shit if you're making more than 50 unless you can talk metrics or whatever you want to measure my ass? What it is like we're going to add up everybody makes more than 50 and determine how much money we could sponge off of them because they could always change that rate. They could always drop it from 750 to 5 to 100. They
uh,
could always,
and well, they say it 1.1 will be revised. They
yeah,
come out and say it's not going to be static.
yeah.
Now, something, and folks, don't worry, we'll talk more than just the OGL, but I find it very interesting because there was also talk. Somebody mentioned this actually on my Discord, and there was something that they found on Twitter. I'm not sure if if Twitter is a six-letter word now or seven-letter word, one of those unmentionable words that
Um,
we can't mention.
yeah.
But I'll say it, Twitter, 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 Twitter. Um, Somebody was saying that they had a friend that was a third party publisher that had been invited into the beta test to actually create material and were being told that they would have to sign on
NDA.
to well, not just NDA, they would have to agree to abide by the terms of the OGL 1.1,
Yeah.
and upon doing so, would not be able to publish anything further under 1. Was it 1.0 and
1.0,
1.0?
1.0A.
1.0A.
Yeah.
Well,
That,
fuck that.
so
Fuck that.
that would lead me to believe, and again, this is not, folks, nothing until it's issued. Nothing's written in stone.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Mm-hmm.
what Wizard of the Coast gives us.
Yeah.
But it would lead me to believe that they know that they cannot invalidate the old
Yeah.
the old open game licenses. And I'm sure Rob is biting at the bit because Rob made a good point. Is that the way these licenses are written, they can be 1.0, 1.0A. I'm going to call it 1.0 from now on. It's essentially the same thing, except for a few changes in spellings or presentation of words. But if you have a valid open game license, it can be used with any version of the game that is released under an open game license. And
Mm-hmm.
I've
Well, that's to preserve. Okay, so that clause is
Mhm.
taken from the open source world, back in the late '90s. That's when Dancy, he was drawing a lot of the on the experience of the open source world, drawing up these open license,
Mhm.
and that clause is there so that if you get a hold of some OGL material that's under OGL 1.0, you can continue using 1.0. It means that you can use any version of the license out there. That's the intent.
Right.
Now,
Well,
if they've nitpicked the wording in court, that's another thing altogether. But right now, there's two versions: 1.0, 1.0A.
mm,
Yeah.
So if you share material, you can choose which one you use. However, obviously, if you all you had on your hand is the D20 SID, that well, if you rely just on the D20 SRD, then it's under OGL 1.0. If you rely on um,
5e.
5E, then you have to use OGL 1.0A, which is kind of the same as
Can you
1.0.
do both, Rob? Can you put it under both at one time?
No, you
All right.
you got to pick whatever your. I mean, they're compatible, but
Yeah,
you gotta pick one.
yeah,
well,
yeah.
then I got a question for you, Rob. Since it says it can be used with any version of the rule set that's released under an open game license, in theory, from that wording, you should be able to use 1.1, well, 1.0 with 3.5, 3x, sorry, 3x SRD, the 5e SRD, and in theory, the 1D&D SRD,
Well,
because they're all in the system.
Well,
here,
there's a considerable amount of confusion over it, and once it was pointed out, I read it with trying to put myself in their shoes, and I could see their point. I don't know legally. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know legally how
Mhm.
it plays out. All I know is I'm pretty sure about the intent.
I was
But
telling my brother this about you, Rob, the other day. You have an incredible, like, analytical mind, right? It comes from programming, just the way you and who you are, and you're reading, you're smart. And I was like, he's so smart, but the thing he's lacking as a lawyer is Rob is a good person. He trusts people, he likes people, he sees the good in everything. He likes all the Marvel series, for example. To be a lawyer, you got to have the mind you have, which is better than my mind as a lawyer, but you also got to think, who's going to fuck me and how do I fuck them first? There's what you're missing, because everyone's out to fuck you as a lawyer, right?
well, Joe, you haven't been around me long enough to see what happens when somebody crosses me. So
All right. I'm a little scared now.
let's just to say I've won way more than I've lost.
All right.
I even put my best friend in jail over an incident. So,
All right. All right. Good. 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 All right.
and I wasn't frothing at the mouth either. I mean,
Yeah.
when the facts were laid out to me, and I cooperated with the police, we set it
Yeah.
up, and
Boom.
when it all played out, he was
Yeah.
in jail. I got my money back, but I
think
still lost my fucking city state because I didn't realize he was the one that stole my computer at the
computer
time.
guy, him. Rob, here's what you got to do: put your mindset back to where you were then, and apply it to Wizards of the Coast, and look at everything they say or do in the most diabolical, Asmodeus-like manner, and then nail them with your brain. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why
Well,
they're thinking, man.
okay, if you wanted me to be all radical, then
Not
everybody
radical.
should stop ignoring one. Everybody should start ignoring 1D&D and start uh, encouraging somebody to work and release a
Bingo.
open 5e.
Bingo.
And that already happened. So where it happened was Traveler. So Mongoose Traveler 1e with Mongoose Traveler 1e, Mongoose did a good job. They had some quality issues with the books themselves,
Mhm.
but overall they revitalized the
Mhm.
Traveler hobby. And Mongoose didn't quite release a full SRD, but enough of it they got a vibrant third
Well,
party market going.
here's who I think will do it, Rob. Who could do it, I should say. I don't know Eric's sources. I don't know anything about what he's got or what he knows. Just I'm looking at the marketplace, right? Because I know Eric I know some shit. He ain't saying, or he might say
Well,
later.
I don't know who could do it, but it's
Here-
easier. It is easier now than when Pazio could do it because
Absolutely.
now we have crowdfunding.
Yep. No, I don't think there's some people who I'm thinking of. They don't need crowdfunding, Rob. Here's two people. Critical Role, because this thing fucks Critical Role.
My God, yes.
Critical Role could put out an edition and get 50 million people buying this goddamn thing tomorrow, right? And it's just going to clone 5e Classic, whatever they got to call it, to everybody will know what it is, right? And they could have even the Critical Role stuff that they carried over from Pathfinder, the guy with the gun and the shit like that. They can make all their house rules in there. Boom. The other people that could do it is something that Eric mentioned on a video a while ago that nobody picked up on, Eric, as far as I could tell. You're talking about a Roll20 one bookshelf merger, weren't you?
Yep.
Tell me about that, because that's important. Nobody understands that, man. That's big.
All right. So I guess early in the year, One Bookshelf mentioned that they were going to be, we're going to be working closely with Roll20. And this is when they dropped their, what was their, virtual tabletop, their VTT? Was it Vassal or something like that? Or
No, it wasn't Vassal. Vassal was open source.
all right. So it wasn't, but Astral was their VTT. It wasn't getting much legs. And all of a sudden, they're announcing that they're going to be working closely with Roll20. They shut down their VTT with 2 weeks notice to people that, hey, we're no longer going to support it. It's over. It's done. And then a month or so ago, maybe a little bit longer, maybe 6 weeks, one of my friends in the industry who works for a fairly major third-party publisher said to me, sent me a screenshot. And it was an email from somebody at Drive-Thru discussing upcoming sale at Drive-Thru. And the email address was no longer, I forget her name actually. But say it's no longer Dawn at Drive-Thru RPG. It was Dawn at Roll20.net. I went, wait a second. If you're changing your emails over, you're no longer just working closely. You're now a singular company. Maybe, two sides kind of Chinese wall separating, but they're all under one umbrella. Now, why do you do that?
That's telling.
It's telling because it makes, if you wanted to buy out one or the other, theoretically, if you wanted to buy out Drive-Thru or you wanted to buy out Roll20, now you got to buy both because now they are both entwined. So you've made them a less attractive
hostile takeover person,
right? Especially if you're doing your own VTT, so you don't want the Roll20 assets. So and then does that become an issue, right? So now Drive-Thru could certainly say, hey, we need our own house system, because despite them saying in that little update from D&D Beyond that, we have all these special licenses out.
We currently have them. Let's see what happens in the year.
Doesn't mean they're going to renew them. But you can still when you are putting out a VTT for yourself and you're Wizards of the Coast, you don't want to share that bucket of
they're in hunker down mode. They're in 4E mode. This is 4E 2.0 basically. That's where we're at.
It's starting to smell like that. But
it really is.
The thing is, they could paint themselves as the good guys by they can still do all the fancy modules and that really the small publishers can't touch because they require so much art and layout expertise. But they could release the core system as basically open content and share it for their entire subscriber base. I mean, it would be open to anybody, but they'll distribute it through Drive-Thru and Roll20 and paint themselves as the good guys and try to snatch the crown as Pazio did snatch the crown from Wizards.
I mean,
but here's the thing. I want to finish the point about Traveler. So what happened was they came out with Mongoose Traveler 2nd edition, and Matt at Mongoose screwed up the third-party licensing. He went in on the third-party content program. He was one of the early ones, like the third or fourth one, and they have that no derivative clause. And since the Traveler third party is not focused on the Third Imperium setting, it's focused on their own setting. That is death for your, it's one thing to go to a community content project and to get access to Gloranthia or Forgotten Realms, but it's another to give your stuff away. They found out about it at the last minute, which was irritating as all heck for all of them. And then one guy named Jason Kemp went through the D20 Modern, Traveler 20, which had a bunch of open content, and it didn't overlap of what Mongoose released, and he created Cepheus. And Cepheus just beat the hell out of the Traveler's Aid Society, which was the official third-party uh, content program for Traveler 2E. But, Mark Miller said, they're legit, you're legit, we're all going to be a happy family. We're not going to be dissing each other.
That ain't gonna. That's not how it's going to go with 5e and OGL with this 6e thing though.
Yeah,
they're hostile, Rob. They don't give a fuck.
Well, I have to remember too, Mongoose.
Well, remember they're going to try to stay away from court. It's been the trend both in the open source world, and I predict to continue to be a trend in the OGL world, where Wizards are going to do everything possible to avoid going to court. Well, like Solasta, the settlement with Solasta, they probably, threatened them basically with what Eric experienced with legal costs. And that's why, what they're offering us pretty good terms, and it's not really worth spending all that money just to make a point.
Right. But here's the thing too. When it comes to Mongoose, right? Is Mongoose publicly traded like Hasbro is? Hasbro has to appease its stockholders. It has to make a profit now,
and they're screwed right now.
Yeah. So I'm going to make a prediction. I'm pulling out the Tenkar Tavern Privy Bowl, which is drawing bowl in the bottom of the privy. So I gotta pick through shit. I haven't done this in a while. But here's my guess. You know how 4E tried to get away from the OGL with the game system license. They're calling this an open game license. It isn't an open game license, and I suspect they're going to call it something different when it comes out. And the reason why I say it's not an open game license, you don't opt in to an open game license. To use 1.1, you have to register each and every product you're publishing under 1.1.
It's a contract. It's a contract where they give you a license to use the 1D&D content, but you have to enter in a contract. Unlike the OGL 1.1, which is just simply a license. The IP license. They give you permission. Like I gave people permission to freely copy and modify Black March. So
Sorry, Joe, I thought that was Greg popping in there. I was like,
oh no,
take the full screen, and I bopped it off. But
that's Karnak the Great. Remember Carson?
Yeah,
I'm gonna make a prediction. I'm like, I got it.
But my prediction is that if they change, if they call it the one game license, right? It's still the OGL, but it's the one game license, not the open game license. Then you no longer have the question from 1.0 as to whether it's this isn't the open game license; it's the one game license.
Well, that's all they have to do to avoid the confusion over Section 9 is give it a different name.
Yeah, and here's the other thing they're gonna do is chill the market. That's why it's gonna be so restrictive like this. They want, if that's the case, Eric, but what you're saying is you can't make anything or anything else. They're going to put a freeze on that market. They're only going to get the simps essentially to come over and make this 1D&D crap. They're going to freeze out everybody who wants to make anything for anybody else. Because what's Castles of Crusades going to do? They're not going to put out from 1D&D because they want to keep putting out for their own, their own D20. Right, their own D20, their license, or you got the OGL for the D20 thing for their game, right? Same thing with Paizo. They're not gonna stop their meat and potatoes. And so, who's gonna put out for this? John Smith, who wants to make $300 this year. That's who's gonna put crap out, right? The mid-tier players, even the lower mid-tier players, aren't gonna put anything out. They're gonna say, "Screw you, we're gonna put out for the classic version," if they do anything for that alone. And I think I wish that some consortium would come together, get Paizo and One Bookshelf and Castle Crusades and and Frog Gods and all these guys and come together and say, here's a 5e version. We're all going to put something out under like a consortium Osric. You know what I mean? The purpose of Osric was to have something to publish for. Get a consortium, put something out to publish for. Well, that would make sense.
I predict.
Oh,
everybody's hand-wringing aside. It's going to play out just like 4E.
I agree.
Instead, basically the equivalent of the bad marketing videos of that really started to sour people on the whole 4E experience. Here it's the gratuitous changes in the playtest document. Like,
Oh,
well, okay, why are you doing this? I mean,
yeah.
this is not. You're just rearranging the chairs on the deck of the same ship, and you just
Because here's the stupid thing, Rob. They're saying it's going to be backwards compatible with 5th edition, right? But at the same time, they're changing the OGL to make it so that they're admitting by changing the OGL so much, they're admitting that it's not going to be backwards compatible. Because if you could put out for 5th edition using the 1.0A whatever OGL, then technically, according to them, it should work under 1D&D. But we all know goddamn well this is a brand new edition. It's not going to work under 1D&D.
Well, they're
Not
not
at all.
well. Right now, we're looking at a 3.5 versus 3.0 situation with what they release. There's tweaks all over the place, but it's still essentially the same game. You're not going to be
For vets, yes. For veteran DMs, they're not gonna have a problem with it, Rob. But I'm talking like Joe Spank got started 2 years ago. He might have an issue with that stuff.
well.
Well, sure, people had issues with 3.5 who were happy with 3.0, but I
Right.
mean, I think it's just going to play out in that respect, Joe. It's going to play out 3.5 versus 3.0.
And 3.0, nobody bought it anymore or played it. Yeah, I did.
Well,
But
we're going to 3.5 kill, and now remember something else too. We're bringing up 3.0 and 3.5. That switched to 3.5, which was technically backwards compatible with 3.0.
yeah,
How many third-party settings shit the bed and went away with that switch? Pretty much every single one that was out there.
Waterlands was delayed.
You know, what was it? The midnight. I think it was midnight. There was the dragon one that was like the oh god. I actually liked it. I had a lot of the books for it, like the Starfarer's Handbook and crap.
Midnight, where their Sauron one.
Yep. So a lot of these settings that were third-party settings that came out under 3.0 weren't going to make the change to 3.5 and literally went away. So by making that change, Wizards did a great job for themselves in getting rid of a lot of these third-party settings, bring people back to Wizards of the Coast, pretty much one setting at the time, which is Forgotten Realm. So
where was Greyhawk? This was like
Greyhawk was
this was in the era where they were doing Greyhawk and Forgotten Realm.
yeah,
they're doing living Greyhawk though, Rob. It was not real Greyhawk.
wasn't the setting that you were going to actually be playing in. They weren't releasing a box set for it.
No.
You know,
they had no drizzle.
I guess you got a point there. Yeah.
You know, it was only there for your organized play.
Yes, Living Greyhawk. Their Living Greyhawk book that Mona, what's the name? Mona?
Yeah,
Eric Mona put out. Fantastic book, by the way. Love it. But yeah, that was one of the best things.
He had a love for the setting.
He did. He was.
People love the setting they write about because it showed in their writing, and that showed. I didn't play third edition, but I owned that book, and I was great because I was like thinking as a AD&D /2E, DM.
Hell yeah!
Oh, I could organize this. I could take this information.
It's good for any system. It'll work anywhere. But here's the one thing we're missing here: the difference between 4.0 and now. 4.0 did talk about some kind of online interface that never went anywhere, and it was bullshit came out of that, some death or a suicide.
No, it was a homicide
suicide. Yeah. So that beyond that, it was going to be a shitty little whatever the fuck interface,
Yeah.
But
what they're 4.0, the character builder was a very essential part of the hardcore 4.0 experience.
But what I'm talking about here is we're all just we've been talking so far about it in terms of the book, the print, the game at the table, right? What they're launching now, what they're proposing to launch is going to be a huge, what I call it is a turn-based MMO, right? It's basically the Temple of Elemental Evil video game that they came out with 15, 20 years ago, but in a larger scale, right? So what you're looking at here is you have to trust that these people, well, they think they're going to come out with this thing they think is going to work, but I seriously doubt it's going to work. No, it's going to be beta tested upon release by all of us. And just because they got Microsoft executives running this thing doesn't mean it's going to pull through. I know that's their hope.
I think it's I think we're misremembering how far the 4E VTT got along. Right now, the whole thing, including the drama. Well, the VTT is a little bigger part of the marketing this time around, but as far as the actual news on the VPT, it's beat for beat, the same as the run up for 4.0. Until they actually release something concrete to discuss about, as far as I'm concerned, it's vaporware, just like the 4E
Absolutely.
4.0 version
Yep.
is going to be.
It's all flash, and it's not going to pop. Here's something else, guys. I'll read to you. It's a comment. There was so many good comments in my thing about the video about this, but one guy brought up shit that I don't know much about and never heard of because it involves Magic the Gathering and European law. So I read this thing. This guy's name is Isaiah Welch. I told him I'd read it. It's a couple paragraphs, but it's very interesting. He goes, the problem is quite simply that Hasbro brought in people from Microsoft and other people who had previously worked on video games, not RPGs, and certainly not TCGs or CCGs. This is why Hasbro was telling Wizards of the Coast that the goal is basically monetize everything, no matter what the communities think. The goal is simply to make this palatable to the player base as possible. The problem for Wizards of the Coast is, and he goes into two different problems. One is Magic Arena as an utter failure. Not only has it killed paper standard, see the news about using only limited formats for a supposed store championship, but Magic Arena has basically turned into a pay-to-win version of Hearthstone. And Wizards of the Coast, despite all the rhetoric surrounding the D&D, SRD, OGL debacle, seems intent on making one D&D Dungeons & Dragons version of Magic Arena. It will be a complete failure because so much you have to have in order to play one D&D. And then he goes into a different point. I'll skip to some sentences here, but this is the interesting thing. I've never heard of this before. Add in the destruction of the secondary market of Magic cards, as well as the fact that Magic is outright saturating the market and driving down the value of Hasbro stock at the same time, becomes clear. You can't use a video game or online model for D&D or Magic. It doesn't work, especially when, here's the point, you don't give any kind of online support, development, or innovation, because Wizards of the Coast is definitely violating the axiom of if it isn't broke, don't fix it. Okay? He says, and this doesn't even address the blue whale pod in the room of Wizards of the Coast. If they go to way of monetizing everything, it's looking at loot crating or loot boxing becoming a major problem, which will alienate the EU customers because of what happened in EU courts this year, when several cases showed that loot crating or loot boxing was basically gambled without being called gambling. All right, so I guess there's some sort of laws in Europe that if you just like get a random crate and see what loot is in there, it's being considered gambling, and kids can't gamble. And so if you have something like that, which I've seen in video games, I've seen that in D&D online. If you're looking at a video game and you're getting, I'll gamble 50 gold pieces of my treasure on this box of who knows what it is, it's considered gambling when you could purchase 50 gold pieces for cash. And so they might bump up against European laws on that. Very strange. I've never heard of this before, but I don't play Magic Arena. I don't know if you guys have any experience with that shit to know what the hell he's talking about. I guess it's destroying the hobby, the print hobby, with their newest, latest, greatest online version of Magic Arena.
Well, the only problem I see with his analysis, I think his analysis, from what I know, sounds pretty good for Magic the Gathering. The only problem with applying it to D&D is, unlike the Magic, Magic is it's all Wizards IP. Nobody can come out. They would just have to compete with a whole new card game, and we see where that went. So they can't make a Magic equivalent. All they could do is either take it or leave it, and it's gotten to the point where they're just leaving because it's even too much for the fanatics. But with D&D and role playing, we can fix it. We have the tools. We have the D20 SRD and we have the 5e SRD. Now the 5e SRD is going to take a little bit more work because in their list of stuff, they only have like one example of a feat in every class. Only has one subclass instead of the 3 in the core rulebook. But like we said earlier, if Drive-Thru or the Critical Role people wanted to come out with what's recognized as the Pathfinder for 5e, we could do it. All we have to do is choose to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then here's the thing too. Now you have to choose it. If somebody like Critical Role wanted to do it, there would be a market for it. If Drive-Thru did it, they would be the market for it. It is their marketplace.
Well said.
Okay.
Yeah.
If some other third parties wanted to do it, listen. Again, I know people in the industry. I have not been necessarily part of conversations, but I've been informed of conversations. When Pathfinder 2e came out, there was a great response in the third-party community to put together a team of publishers to basically recreate Pathfinder 1 as a living system. In other words,
really?
No, there was a lot of talk. There was some work done on it, from what I understand, but it never came out to be because Pathfinder 2 got at least enough of a market grip that, and by the time they would have actually put it out, Pathfinder 1 would have been off the market for a long time. Pretty much, there wasn't much time between the announcement of Pathfinder 2 and Pathfinder 2 hitting, in terms of how, like, D&D announces things like 2 years in advance because it's such a big system. So right now, like, if you're a publisher of 5e material, now you're like, all right, when do I stop preparing stuff for 5e? Because your 5e stuff is going to have a smaller tail going forward, because whether or not 1D&D is the big hit that Wizards hopes it will be, the truth is 5e material, even if it's going to be backwards compatible, is going to trail off and not have the tail it would have had before the announcement.
I agree. It'll be 3.0 all over again.
Yeah. Honestly, that's
the next year and a half. It's going to be death for 5e third-party content.
So I mean, honestly, I'm observing, and I am watching companies like Trollord, Frog God Games. Frog God is now publishing for OSE. They're publishing for Castles and Crusades. I've heard rumors there might even be another the system that they're going to be looking to publish under, because you have to diversify, because you're learning now you can't trust Paizo to stick with the system. You can't, and Paizo had always said there's never going to be a Pathfinder 2.0. There will never ever be a Pathfinder. By the way, surprise, Pathfinder 2.0 is coming up. It's right around the corner.
Hey, I did, it wasn't the fact that, Matt Finch was changing up Swords and Wizardry that caused me to do it. It's just the simple logistics of trying to sell supplements outside of the digital marketplace. And I was propelled to make my Majestic Fantasy RPG. And sure, you if you're a third-party publisher and you have an idea for, if you have enough house rules that have been play tested for a system, make it, because they're just going to benefit you the long run. You don't have to make it completely incompatible, but you could just, it's something that you could sell, that regardless of whoever wrote the original, they decide to go in another direction, you can keep your direction in the same heading.
So, and I looking at the proposed 1.1, it only applies, you can only publish under it, you can only do anything under it if it's a physical book or static digital.
Whatever the hell that means. What is that? You can never change it? What does that mean?
That means it's not interactive content. In other words, there's no a PDF, a text file, a Word document. These don't, you can't click on a button and it does something. You just read it. And that's what they mean by it. So, choose your own adventure online. Now that's not a static, even though it's text based. It's that's a game, because you choose your choice, and then the software will jump you to the next scene.
See, I actually read that as it's EPUB digital format, EPUB or PDF. So the way I am seeing that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but others have said this too, it would mean that I could not, under the 1.1, share content on my blog, because it is not, I can go in and change it later on, right? It's not like a PDF. The PDF is in somebody's hands. That PDF's not going to change. Your EPUB is not going to change. It can get revised and a new edition comes out, but it can't be, like, quote,
I think you're overthinking it.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah, Rob.
I'm going to tell you why, Rob, because you have to register everything you publish under the OGL 1.1. And I present my class, the Debonair, and I write up on my blog and under the 1.1, and I submit it.
Okay. Right? So yes, you are correct.
Then I revise it.
But here's what you do with your blog. You release it under the fan content policy.
Well, fan content's so much better, Rob. You see that bullshit? It's why ever do that? You can put anything on the fan content. You can pretty much get away with the copyright. I mean, honestly, get away with most shit with the copyright.
Well, I don't. I use the fan content policy to publish the digital Darlene map. I wouldn't use it for much else, but
you can't use it commercially. So if you want if I wanted to have the option to use this commercially, then I can't really preview it on my blog.
Well,
You know,
plus, you got a whole other shit show there too, Rob. Rob, and they're both of you. I mean, because Eric, you had a Patreon, right?
Mhm.
Let's say your Patreon is a hodgepodge of all kinds of shit, right? And let's say you're pulling in $2,000 a month, right? It's a great thing you got going, $2,000 a month, and you put out a few of these things under the 5e, or the one D&D OGL 1.1, right? And you're pulling a couple grand a month. Now you're hitting enough that let's say over time this you're making total of 50 grand a year, so you're on the radar, right? Now, how do you divide up what the 5e verse stuff is, the OSR stuff
They
versus the
don't-
one D&D shit? You don't know.
Well, here again, I am not a lawyer, but
I'm barely.
and I'm not an accountant. But reading the way they proposed, and again, this is where I say this is when vague wording is done for a reason.
Absolutely,
When
it's
they-
lawyer
when-
wording.
when
Lawyers
they-
wrote this bullshit.
When they
Trust
talk about making $750,000 they go as a company
me. Yeah.
using 1.1, they don't say exclusively over 750,000
Mhm.
from 1.1. Are they talking net? Are they talking gross? Are they talking your
Yeah,
net
they
of
said
everything
revenue.
you publish? Just what's
They
under
said
1.1?
sales. They said
They
sales.
said
So
sales.
it's
revenue,
so
Rob.
gross.
They
It's
said
Gross
gross
sales.
revenues they're
Well,
talking
your
about.
gross
They
revenue.
didn't say gross, Rob. They said revenue.
You said revenue. They didn't say it.
They didn't say gross, net, or anything.
They were lazy. They used sales, which is synonym for revenue.
They didn't use sales. They said revenue.
You said revenue.
They
They
did
didn't say-
use sales.
Hold up,
They-
Rob.
Find it.
Hey, it's gonna be one of those commercials for like Progressive. Hey, they threw the challenge flag, Rob. Let's go to the videotape. The first screen share of the night, folks. We know you were waiting for this desperately. But in any case, it doesn't state it's only what's under 1.1. It's saying what your company makes. So
Yeah. There's no way to divide that.
there's no way to divide it.
There's no way to parse it out.
So
Right? I mean, Critical Role's getting money from probably 5 different
No,
income
there's no way to parse it out traditionally unless you go through gyration. That now you have a 5e business and you have a 1D&D business.
Yeah, and nobody does that. I
And-
mean,
Yes,
yeah.
nobody does that.
And not for nothing, too. You're basically having to go to a new taxing authority. Hey, I got to give you my tax forms, right, to show you how much
Yeah.
money I made, what my net was, what my gross was. This is all an insight into your competition.
hmm
There's a lot.
All right,
more
you're right.
going on there.
I'm reading line 1. Accept the license term and let what you're offering for sale. I conflated that too. So they're talking revenue.
Yeah, that's right. And what does that mean? Gross, net? Well, what the
Oh,
revenue means? All
I'm
the
pretty
money you make.
sure. I'm pretty sure it's gross.
It's every goddamn penny you made. Yeah.
So
Yep.
I mean, so
No. It's actually there's a caveat on there if you read it. Report OGL related revenue, which you're kind of right because of course
Think like
anybody who's
Asmodeus,
already
Rob.
publishing OGL stuff, it will include
Mm-hmm.
that requirement as
Yep.
it stands now.
Exactly.
Would include any revenue you make off of OGL 1.0
Yeah.
or 1.08 stuff.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
again, listen, they are wording this like this for a reason. They are
Yep.
giving themselves so much leeway into how
Oh,
they
yeah.
can rephrase this later. Because if they nailed it down to this only includes 1.1, it only includes revenue under 1.1, and we want only your well, actually they want your gross, not your net, because they're going to be monitoring Kickstarters. So people like Sly Flourish and Critical
Yeah.
Role and Matt Mercer and all these others that have these Kickstarters, it's so crazy. They're going, hey, we need to get our bit of that. And they don't tell you, by the way, what their royalty tax is going to be.
No, the mention of that, and no mention of any potential fee for that goddamn badge you're talking about. I watched that video. I linked it to you guys. He's an actual attorney. By that I mean he actually practices. It sounds like, and he seems kind of legit. And he did a real thorough legal analysis, about a half an hour. I think it was like the Roll Lawyer, I think his name was. But he did a great show, and he talked about, here's the real catch, is that fucking badge. That number 3, where you got to buy a badge and slap it on your books. What's that going to cost, and what terms and conditions are going to go along with that? Nobody knows.
Well, and here's the thing too. If you're using, listen, it was like the D20 system license, which they got away with because it potentially put them in a bad light, right? It's like, oh, it's our badge of approval. If you have to tell them your title, right? You and explain it, right? It isn't just, here's the title, Joe the Lawyer's Wondrous Imagining Items, and it's like, it's a book of magic items yada yada yada. I'm sure they're going to reserve the right to say, well, before you put this for sale, we'd like to review this, because you know what they're looking for. They're looking for things that are going to, if they're putting their badge on it, if they're putting suitable for use with one D&D, or whatever they're going to call the game at that time, or endless D&D, suitable for use with endless D&D, then they don't want the next book of naughty tricks coming out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guarantee you, if Zach or Raji or Avenger applied for a fucking license or a badge, it ain't gonna happen.
It's not an open license. It's not an open license if they are reserving a right
to deny it. Exactly.
And they're reserving that right.
That's under the badge part. Yeah.
They're reserving that right if you have to opt in. There's no other way to look at it.
Not only are you opting in, you're opting out of doing anything else ever.
Well,
essentially.
Well, Raji won't be able to get away with this once, but he could form a new company, apply for the license. Wizard being overwhelmed
he would
doesn't
never
really.
do it,
Let me finish. Yeah, you haven't got to the punchline.
All right.
And then he makes the release the books, and he puts the content, the badge of approval, right over the woman's vagina, or some other Raji thing that he will do.
Nice.
And then, of course, that's the last book they'll ever publish.
Oh yeah.
That name.
That's a very Raji thing to do. You're absolutely right. Right. That's
good. When you're looking at this, right? And again, if you have to opt in, I can't stress this enough. If you have to opt in, sign up on and it's not just once. Tenkar's Tavern is signing up to be a 1.1 OGL publisher. No, I have to submit every product so they know, and there's a reason why too. They'll have a list of every 1.1 OGL product. They'll know exactly what's on the marketplace. They'll know who is selling stuff that's making over $50,000 a year under their license. And
there's another way around that too. So under U.S. law, a corporation is its own person. So you could form a corporation. I mean, I know this is a bit of a hack and a hassle, but you could form a corporation and then apply for the license under. I could keep Bat in the Attic the game going the way it is, make a formal corporation, and apply for the license, release all 1D&D under it, and I'm still on the other hand releasing OGL product.
Right, you could be cat in the attic, rat in the attic. And it could be Frog God Games and Necromancer Games, which is one and the same, but corporately they're actually two separate entities. You could do both. I guess.
Who's going to do that though?
But if they caught you doing that, obviously the contract that you would sign to do that will give termination procedure, and they would just say, "You're terminated."
They got Hasbro lawyers, Rob. They got law firms that have 3,000 lawyers in one office on this shit. They're going to put every goddamn restriction they possibly could think of in this thing, and it's gonna, like I said before, it's gonna have a chilling effect. You're gonna have people who just say, "Screw it." It ain't worth it. I don't know who would go into this except somebody, some kid, somebody who just says, I don't know anything. I don't want to do anything else. I just want to put out and make maybe 60, 80 bucks. I want to get beer money off of this thing. Who else would do it other than them?
All I can say with the Cepheus world, it took a couple years for the TAS to get going. And even then, the Cepheus category on drive-through is 7 times the size of the Traveler's Aid Society category.
And that's with people who like to get along. This is people who hate each other. Wizards of the Coast, in case you didn't catch my video, hates you, motherfuckers. They hate you. They hate the gamers. They don't want anything to do with it except to take our money.
Oh, listen. They don't. I don't think they hate you. I just think that you're not important to them.
Your wallet is.
As a gamer is. Yeah. You are important as to how they can monetize you. All right, it doesn't mean that you actually have value. You have value. They don't hate you. But here's the thing: Wizards of the Coast, and I'm sure they've done their research. They've done their market research, and they've already done well. You know what? Even if here, I don't know what the numbers are. I haven't looked recently, but let's just say there are 25 million active D&D 5e players in the world. They've already figured out that if we lose 20% and we're going down to 20, we're going to lose. That 5% is either going to go on to Pathfinder, they're going to go on to
OSR shit,
was it Lesbian Sword Bearers, or they're going to go on to all these other other games. We don't care. as long as that remaining 80% spends 50%
Yeah.
more, and now we're making more money.
Yeah, it's a calculation.
It's a calculation.
That's all it is.
They're not concerned.
Dude, it's like the Ford Pinto and the blowing up to the gas tank thing.
Right.
It's a
Yeah, but
calculated
they're
risk.
not considering, unlike the video game world, the what it takes for a person to really make a big splash in the RPG world is considerably less. It's not something I would be capable of. It would take somebody who was organized as Pazio or Critical Role to pull it off, obviously. But even then, below that, there are levels that even we can aspire to, and make a go at it. And that is something that is not the case in the video game world anymore, because in the video game world, the technology is so involved in the speciality that need to come together to make a nice game. Even something like Celestia, as modest as goal it was, it's considerable. So I mean, you just can't put out a game like that in 6 months. You can an RPG book.
Well, now,
go ahead.
I was going to say too. Now, it's something that we've actually overlooked too. All right, because there's something already out there that allows you to avoid the OGL entirely, which is the DM's Guild, which is where they and Drive-Thru split half the money between each other.
Well, for now, Drive-Thru gets
all right.
some.
For now, Drive-Thru. Right. Now, my thought initially had been that was how they were going to release their SRD, was going to be within the DM's Guild so they could capture the money. Now, that may or may not be true. I believe, personally, at this point, what we found out about the OGL is only because of listeners that we have right now, of this channel and other channels, readers of N-World. We're talking enough about the 1D&D OGL and the rumors that we were hearing. And I'm going to tell you, okay, my rumors, people have been mentioning certain companies. I know one has not been mentioned, but one of the companies that was mentioned is, and I'm not going to say which one, we've mentioned a couple, was where I was getting this rumor from. And there's a company that was not mentioned where I was getting the rumor from. And the rumor simply was this, is that there was internal discussion, just like there was with 5e, as to whether or not to release it under an open game license with an SRD. There's a reason why 5e was out for 15 months before we got an open game license and an SRD.
Why?
They tried to give us the basic rules, right? Because they thought people want an SRD to play the game for free. We'll give them the basic rules, and then they can play the game for free. And if they like it, they can invest in it. But they don't need the open game license. They don't need the SRD. And then they start hearing community getting, hey, where's the SRD? Where's the OGL? Why can't we create? And that's when they finally said, all right, at the 15 months, but the bean counters didn't want it. The bean counters were resistant because the bean counters see an open game license and an SRD as giving away our money.
Yes.
We're giving away our money. We're giving away our product for other people to profit off it. What does that do for us? If we're not getting money off it, again,
because they're not part of the hobby. They don't care about the hobby.
I would say to that bean counter, it said, then how come we're placing ads in magazine? That's money that we're giving to other people about our product, and we're not getting anything in return. What do we get in return?
Sales.
We get goodwill. We get to be the good guy, and people start to like us.
Well, no, you're getting paid for those ads in your magazine. Even
no, you're not. I mean, Wizard posted, I got to go pay for an ad in a magazine. I got to go pay for an ad on YouTube.
Right.
I mean, that's money out that comes off.
But presumably, it's an ad for a product, Rob, and you get sales off it.
Right.
I mean,
but that's what open content is to.
They don't get that, Rob. They don't get that. They don't understand that, Rob.
I know they don't get that. I'm being sarcastic here.
Oh.
I would say this is what I would say to Beancomer. It's the best form of advertisement that you have.
It's never going to be looked at that way. All they're going to care about is somebody made $50 off of D&D. That's our fucking money. Pay me.
Yeah,
Joe Pesci, Goodfellas. Joe Pesci, Goodfellas, Rob. Fuck you, pay me. That's what we're looking at here from Wizards of the Coast.
Well, I mean, if somebody like me doesn't speak up, then it will never freaking change, Joe. So I'm not going to be discouraged by people like you saying, "Oh, they're going to be jackasses about it." And
they will be jackasses about it.
No, Rob, that's the reason why we talk about this. Listen, the only reason why they even started talking about an OGL coming down from Wizards of the Coast for 1D&D, it's because people have been talking about it. People have been hearing rumors, and the rumors I was hearing is the same rumors from 5e time. At this time,
Well, I'm agreeing with you,
okay,
Eric.
but
Half the responses I got to my blog post when I posted it to N World, and
oh my God,
I mean,
dude, it was like dude, you know what you did? It was Christmas Day, and you were just telling all the Christians that you know what. I know you think that Christ was born today, but you do know that it really wasn't December 25th. That was just the day that was assigned because nobody knew what day he was actually born on. And they're like, "Oh no, you can't say that." You were telling you were talking the truth to the people who didn't want to hear. We're gonna go.
yeah.
I can't hear you because they
Well,
can.
not just that. They just people didn't want to hear the controversy at all. Well, what's this got to do to me? Well, I just used my OGL material. It's like they're all in these. They think they're all in these fortress islands.
Morons.
Yeah, and you know, and my feeling is first twofold. I don't like when anybody, big or small, are predatory to other content creation. I'm going to call them out for it. And two, I am not. I don't think I'm in an island. I think what affects one corner of the hobby will eventually ripple out and make my day shitty.
Your EN World, if you got all those people who are regulars there who post a lot and put them into one hive mind, it wouldn't be worth flushing down the toilet. You know what I mean? They're not even worth talking to, man. They're idiots over there for the most part. You know?
I you know, Matt was talking about that, posted that one article that talked about generalization. I don't think that it turns out that my thread, I'm not the other thread that talked about the OGL. My thread is like this deep conversation and legal debate thread, and the other thread is kind of like what you're describing it. People,
blowing like rainbow farts out their ass. Yeah,
but apparently my thread, I can't take I can't take much responsibility for this, but turned into, a legal debate about the implication. What's a contract? What's a license? What does it mean?
That's what they all should start thinking about along those terms. It's going to matter, That's why we're talking about it.
I'm kind of impressed to the way it turned out. But there's this guy from Australia, and bless his heart, he believes what he believes, but he just
moron.
Well, listen. First off, we are not that we're actually talking the aspects of the law, because, with the exception of Joe, none of us actually are lawyers.
Yeah, and I'm barely one. And none of this is shit's legal advice, by the way, guys. Just saying. This is just talking shit here.
But although Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the UK, the United States are all built upon English common law, with the exception of Louisiana, and that's a whole other question. But we're based upon there's some common roots, but over the centuries, things have progressed or degenerated in different directions when it comes to an aspect of the law. So you can't just go, because I know somebody who is very knowledgeable, not a lawyer, but very knowledgeable in American jurisprudence, and they happen to be from New Zealand. That's only because they are extremely smart and they follow a lot of the stuff. But I think they probably know American law better than they know their own local law, because American law has so much precedent built into it too.
Yeah.
By the way, St. Cuthbert, the answer to your question is yes, you can, because you're going to still use the 1.0 OGL, and remember,
and the D20 SRD is out there, and if you remove all the newer mechanic, what you get is close to classic D&D. So
right. Yeah. So, but here's the thing, though. All right, and this is why I get vocal about this stuff. Even if 1D&D is not a game that I will play, I want it to be successful. I want it to be something that brings gamers into the hobby, because more gamers in the hobby are more OSR players down the line, more Call of Cthulhu players down the line, more Traveler players, more RuneQuest players, more Savage World players.
It's the gateway drug.
You want that gateway drug, and if you kill the gateway drug because you're trying to squeeze as much blood out of it as you can out of each person that plays it, then we're going to have
hard times.
Yeah.
However, I will say it seems I've been getting rumors through the grapevine that the OSR is experiencing another uptick.
I don't doubt it.
People are starting to migrate over from 5e and checking out the the 5e, check out the OSR, and it may be like 4e all over together. We're
I'm
gonna got
doing a
that.
lot of videos like that on my channel, and it's getting so many views, man. It's so many people are like, "Oh, this is great. I'm new, came in at 5e a few years ago, blah blah blah. It's good stuff to know." And because I'm doing a lot of how to do it OSR style videos, and I don't do like, there's a lot of guys and talk about clickbait. I know I did the most clickbaity thing ever in the history
Yeah,
universe on
you
the
were
last one.
you did.
I even
clickbait,
admit that I
Joe.
was laughing
You
as I
went
was
to the dark
typing it.
side, Joe.
I was
Shame on you.
laughing as I was typing that title.
You
I'm
brought
like,
out the
this
red
is it.
lightsaber, Joe.
I did. But in any case, there's these guys out there that are they do these clickbaity things like 5 ways to do this, 8 ways to do that, and it's like that's just nonsense. I don't do that's too theoretical. I don't think in a theoretical. When I do videos, is just like here's what I'm doing. Try to discern or dissect any principles or whatever you want from it or whatever. But and people are getting something out of that rather than looking at top 5 ways to whatever. And so it's kind of cool. I do long form shit and people are liking it. And so there's a definite uptick in what I'm seeing in comments of new to the OSR, started with 5e, blah, blah, blah. And this is good stuff. And so, yeah, just by that, I'm seeing it,
Yeah, Helen Simpson, you're betting that 1D&D will bring RPG fans and not just D&D fan. My reply to that is if they go with the VT, if the VTT turns out everything that they hope by it, that the gamers playing it after 2 years of playing it, just like after 2 years of playing 4E, will find it repetitive and boring.
Yeah.
I mean, it still may be a great game, but there's only so many, in 4E there were only so many options you could explore until you've done them all. And what's after that? It's just still combat. So they started drifting to the OSR. They started drifting to Pathfinder, other places.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to happen to 1D. It's just going to take time, and we'll be all annoyed while it happens.
Yeah.
But it will happen because the VTT can't compare to the flexibility of theater of the mind. If you eliminate the theater of a mind, and it's like cutting off your hand. Even if you're a guy like me who used minis and dwarven forge, I still use theater of the mind.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though, too, is what I'm concerned about is, and this is the other thing I talk about in the video, it's going to change the basic player. If this thing even is moderately successful, you're going to be bringing in people into D&D who look at D&D as fundamentally as a video game. It's bad enough you got like the World of Warcraft types who look at things in terms of character builds. You know what I mean? And that kind of a thing where you look at the min-max and build the Uber, whatever the hell. I was a Stop and Shop supermarket the other day, and I heard a guy talking about his Warforged, blah, 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 with all the blah, blah. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's the guy behind the meat, slicing meat.
Oh, come on. You're getting into Ron Edwards' brain damage.
I'm talking about brain damage, Rob. I'm talking about brain damage. I'm talking about a mindset that treats D&D as a game rather than an immersive role-playing experience. People who look at it, I know you're talking a gamist and the Ron Edwards bullshit. But what I'm talking about is it's just a mindset and an attitude and an approach to the game where there's going to be a division. There's going to be like the old school mind, like I was saying, the analog mind versus like this digital experience that this is what D&D should be. Right now, D&D is still pen and paper based. Even if you're playing on Roll20, there's a lot of pen and paper elements to that, right? That you're mimicking, and you really can't get a video gamey experience out of it. But if you're bringing in video game type players, there's not going to be much of a crossover like there is now on VTTs. You're not going to, because this is going to be such an immersive VTT.
Joe, it would just be like when computer RPGs first hit. It would become its own thing, and both sides, and it would become a new form of gaming, and they'll just go off and do their own thing, and tabletop remains tabletop.
But again, as a feeder, like Eric was just talking about, right now we have a feeder. It feeds not only the industry, but it feeds the OSR. If you're bringing in a certain type of person who likes that thing so much and considers that to be D&D, you're not going to get as much of a feeder to OSR because you're bringing in a type of person who doesn't understand what the OSR, what the old school play, what analog play even is.
Hey, I had to go through the whole uptick in computer gaming and computer RPGs in the 90s, and it didn't kill RPGs, no. And this is not going to kill RPGs.
It won't kill it, but I'm saying it's going to decrease the feeder part of it. It's going to decrease if it's moderately successful. I think it's going to flop, and I think between the fuck ups they're doing with Magic the Gathering now, and that seems like a desperate move for cash. That's going to hurt them long term. And what they're going to do with this, which is flop miserably, I think that Wizards of the Coast will be sold off from Hasbro within 3 years. Honestly,
okay,
4 years.
But to your point, It is, I think, both. If if all of Wizards' wishes for the VTD come through, then it will split into something else. I don't know what they'll call it, but they will
I don't
split it
know.
and split into something else, and both will grow
Mm-hmm. Here,
because the
Cathonic.
internet makes it altogether easy for people to reach out, and the strength of tabletop in 2028 are still going to be the strength that we have today. They're not going to go away, and whatever this VTT experience that Wizards is cooks up, just like computer RPG, it's not going to
Mm-hmm.
be a plug-in replacement for what we do today.
And that's the attitude difference I was talking about earlier. You're a positive person. I wish I was more positive. God damn it.
I'm not. The optimist dies 1,000 deaths. The pessimist
Yeah.
but one. Folks,
Yep.
comment. We're going to be doing a drawing in about a minute. It's going to pull from the most recent comment. So comment. Get your comments in. One comment is all you
Just
need
say
to do.
hi.
But just make sure you comment.
I bet it's cold, Kellyanne.
I'm
No,
gonna
no, the one
address
on
a few
in here.
comments we have here. Joe Davis, I'm heading to the OSR. I started with AD&D. Looking forward to getting back. Waiting
Oh,
for
can you hand me
OSC
a water when you have
to get
time?
back in stock. OSC is a great choice.
Thank you.
I can't deny it. It is a beautiful, beautiful looking book.
Yeah.
All right, who see our lucky
Chthonic musings. That's an interesting point. I want to touch on that once you're done with this.
Yes, I wanted to get that one too because there's a lot to parse down on this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and this is where I've already said this. Wizards of the Coast doesn't care about retailers, and they have somebody go, "Yeah, but I got this book from my local retailer."
Well, what needs to happen with the retailer is they need to have the benefit of basically what the 3D people with 3D printing have. They need to have something in their store where they can print out books on demand, and so they can have the entire catalog of drive-through RPG.
An optimist. All right.
Yeah, I know. I need like muscles in a washboard stomach too. I mean, let's just face it, that ain't gonna happen. I mean, and you want to do the drawing first, Eric?
Yeah,
before we dive into the bookstores,
and then we'll dive into this. So,
all right.
First up is Endless Encounters.
This is a gift.
This is a gift. We are giving this away. Actually, giving this away is Pacesetter Games. When Bill Barsh realized that OSR Christmas was in mode, he's like, "Dude, call me." I'm like, "On a phone?" He's like, "Yes, call me on the phone." He's like, "I'm like, yeah, Bill." He goes, I want to be part of this. I want to give stuff. I like giving stuff." I'm like, "Okay." So these PDFs are your choice, a 5e or BX format, and no, you can't win more than once tonight. So you can't be Zach Glazer's wife, Jen, who got 3 prizes on a Wednesday night.
How many prizes we have, Eric?
We have this, a $10 drive-through RPG gift certificate, the Shadow Dark PDF set, a physical Arduino map that will go anywhere in the world, and an OSR refrigerator magnet. Again,
how about if I throw? I mean, it'll be at cost, but how about I throw 2 at cost coupons to my Majestic Fantasy RPG?
That works too.
Okay.
So we'll add them at the end. So, folks, I'm going to, after I do this, I'm going to put up my email address. When you get the email address, you're going to have to say in the subject, Friday night random party generator gift receiver. And then I'll be able to find what you actually got. And hopefully somebody will be writing this down, because otherwise I'll have to go back and actually tell me what gift you got. I'll put it to you that way. Because
it's easier.
It's easier, but I'll probably still have to go back and listen to this. All right. Number 1. Draw. We have 18 entries. That's actually pretty good, which means 3 people have not actually commented.
Well, me. Well, yeah,
there's 2 of us that actually shouldn't count. But if it's one of us,
this is neat.
See, I can't.
Hey, you won, Eric. Good job, man.
Well, again, this is still for the Endless Encounters PDF. Let's see. Survey says, Wizard Tower Games. Wizard Don, you know how to get in touch with me. No, you can't throw it back. So Don, you can't win any further prizes tonight. So Don, you're out of the mix. By the way, the PDF is good. I have it.
What is it? Okay.
This is the $10 gift certificate, Joe Davis.
Nice.
$10
Good job, Joe.
Drive through RPG. This is because you all like to use my affiliate links, and I like to put that money back into the group. Next is Shadow Dark. It's a set of 4 PDFs from James Mishler. With the exception of Rob Conley, James Mishler is probably best known for his work on
On the
the world.
Waterlands, Labyrinth Lord.
Yeah, so he's got a lot of good stuff. This is some of his newest work. It's a set of 4 PDFs. Let's see who gets it. If you are a current winner tonight, you cannot receive.
I almost had it. I almost won.
James.
Hey, good job, man.
All right. Next up is an Arduino map. This is a physical map. It will mail anywhere in the world. This is from Emperor's Choice. These are the ones that hold the rights to Arduino. Arduino, Bloody Arduino, I believe, is scheduled for a 2023 release. That's to be the revised system. So, let's see. Who shall it be?
Oh,
James, I'm sorry, you just won.
damn.
So, it's got to be Gerard 253.
Nice. Congratulations.
All right. Next up is the OSR refrigerator magnet from Thaddeus Moore. Thad's the one that also used to do the OSR patches. So this is going to be an OSR refrigerator magnet. You know, you can keep your kids' grades on the refrigerator with it. You know, your court material, your latest cease and desist, anything you need to hang on the refrigerator so you can not forget about it. Chthonic Musings. So now we have one last, actually 2 last. Rob's giving away 2.
Do you want to do this at the end to keep the people listening the whole rest of the show and be evil like that?
I don't know. It's up to Rob.
Hey, Rob, what do you want to do?
It's your channel, Eric. You know how to do this better than I. I don't like sales gimmicks, so my preference. Let's just give it to him now.
Give it away now.
Give it away. Give it away. Give it away now. All right.
Remember, this is an at cost coupon for $9.99 for the hardcover Majestic Fantasy RPG book.
Right.
So you have to pay for shipping essentially, or whatever the cost of the printing. That's it.
Yeah, unfortunately, shipping's costly, but it's the best I can do. If I actually had the book, I would do something different, but I don't. So
okay. Since these are basically at cost, if you are a previous winner, we're going to put you back into the mix. Anybody can win this.
All right.
Well, not win this. Be gifted. Be gifted.
Yes.
Be gifted.
Gift. It's a gift.
And I watch the words I use. Chthonic Musing.
Oh, all right. You won that, man.
And last but certainly not least, and by the way, folks, we're doing this still on the blog. We do this on the Substack. Michael Anderson. So,
congratulations, both of you.
All right. So I'm going to put my email address up. It won't be a surprising email address if you've ever followed this channel. But I'm going to put the email address up. Email me. I will try to get responses out to you all this weekend. But this weekend happens to be Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. So I make no guarantees that anything gets out this weekend because...
and for those of you who haven't ordered print from Drive to RPG before, it will take two to 3 weeks to ship. Unless you just hit exactly the end of the cycle, then it can be a couple of days. It ships out.
All right, hold on a second. Okay, all right. Where did Joe go?
Did you bump me?
No.
I
did bump you, dude. I tried to remove.
All right.
I tried to remove something on. I said, where did Joe go?
No worries. I was just saying that, sometimes the drive-through, it's weird. I get things like 5-6 weeks later. I'm like, what is this? Well, I don't remember even ordering this. And then like the Thingonomicon took forever. And yet other shit, 4 days later, boom. What the hell happened? You know?
I think it's the size and I guess the format. Certain ones print faster than another.
Size matters, I guess. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. So, by the way, just to prove that even I can screw up, I was like going, not that I needed a third copy of the of Toad, Tome of Adventure Design, but I did support the Kickstarter. Where's my copy? And then I did search my email and realized I never paid for shipping. So obviously,
oh shit.
But that was good because the initial issues with shipping and some Bing books had been corrected. So by being stupid, I managed to. So here, let me.
So you get a pristine copy.
Even with
Ah.
that, though, me and Rob compare ours. We had the same errors in ours, and it was not even. I would not have noticed it. You know what I mean? It's
I
not
got
even a
you.
thing. Not even a
All
thing.
right.
Yeah,
So
you
that-
have to. Oh, well, here. Speaking of the devil, here it is.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But you have to hold up to the light. So there's definitely something grip certain pages of the book, and if you
Yeah.
just angle it right, you can see it.
Can you bring back that game store one from Chthonic Musings there? Because that was a good one. I think we have never even touched into that game store aspect. You know.
Okay. And by the way, so Don wants to give away a copy of our haunted. Actually, Don, here, if you don't mind, Don, can I give that copy away? Oh, actually, hold on. Physical copy. I would do that on the blog side because I'm going to assume that's USA only. And on the blog side, I can have people indicate if they're outside the state. So I do make sure that when I randomly assign a gift, that it's not like costing you like $90 to ship a $15 product, because shipping sucks outside the states. So if that's okay with you, Don. Otherwise, I'll give it away tonight. But
Found my original copy of City States Crunch between two books, and I went, ooh.
so yes,
It may be my working copy, but I want to keep it as long as I can.
Chthonic Musings was like they should be looking to support game stores and game stores should be looking to support other tabletop RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to dive into this first, Joe, or shall I?
Go ahead, man. You start it.
Okay, so I don't know if you all when they made their big 1D&D announcement, they were talking about stuff. They were talking about stuff that they were looking to do, and one of the things they were looking to do, which they've already started doing, is bundling. They are bundling their digital product, the D&D Beyond, with the physical product. And if you order directly through Wizards of the Coast, you get a discount on the bundle, which still is more than the physical copy would be by itself. But 2 weeks prior to release of the physical product, you get your D&D Beyond copy. You get your digital copy that you can read on your computer screen and laugh at people because you got the latest, greatest Dragonlance. That's not really Dragonlance in your hands, prior to everybody else. Now, what is that also doing? It's cutting out game stores. Now, game stores already have an issue, right? Because game stores don't get to do the discounts that Amazon can. So they have to basically survive on customer service. But now the actual publisher of these materials wants you to not to go to Amazon. They don't want you to go to your local game store. They want to cut out the middleman going to the distributor and want you to go directly to them. And why is that? Because they can bundle their digital material. It doesn't cost them anything to do so. And they make the full profit. They're not discounting anything.
They're doing the same thing that's happening in the computer game world.
Yep.
When I was in my 20s, there was a computer game store, and it was like you go down every Friday and look at the shelf and see what's new.
They had those in the 60s?
Nice
Couldn't
try.
resist, Rob. Couldn't resist. You set it up.
with the drive.
But it was a decade later, so well, no, it was 80s, so it was a while later. But yeah, you go down there, and this was PC games, so and then that went away because all of a sudden the game consoles became everybody's darling, and you get the GameStop. Now they still have GameStops, but they're not like what they used to be.
Yeah, it's a whole different. I mean, it's weird that you look back on it wasn't that long ago. We had places like CompUSA, and I just wandered the aisles forever. Right now, what do you got? Staples, and you buy business software. I mean, there's nothing. There's nowhere to go to see the latest greatest.
Yeah,
anything.
and all they sell is the top 10.
Yeah, nothing. You know.
Yeah, I used to go to was it Circuit City,
Yes,
Best Buy,
yep.
Back in the day, Electronics Boutique.
Yes, that was a great store. That was fantastic. Every
Is
mall
it-
had
Wow,
one.
that's a name. That is a name I haven't heard in a
Yep.
long time.
We had an Electronics Boutique right up above our B. Daltons out in Flushing. Nice. I was working out there, and I used to go up and get my Commodore 64 games.
Yeah.
You know, or figure out which ones my friends had and go, oh, I want to get that one copied onto disc. Because nobody like loaned you this. They were always like, oh yeah, here I made a copy of Ultima, which you will never finish because you gotta get lucky and spend like a lifetime to finish it. But in any case, we did do that. So this whole thing, the direct marketing is something that's going to be huge for Wizards of the Coast because again, that's getting more money
It's going to destroy
out of the same or smaller player base. We haven't even talked about the VTT and the potential monetizing of that. I think that's just obvious, and I think it's obvious because if you were following the potential fourth edition VTT and Gleemax. What a great name for your computer aspect.
Gleemax.
God, I forgot about that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Do you have any emails from Gleemax?
Think about this too, Eric. I mean, you got right now game stores. If you go to one, right, you're going to see 60-70% Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, or whatever the hell that's called, players, right? You got maybe one D&D or Pathfinder table somewhere near the back. And then you got, if it's a bigger store, you might have one or two Wargamer tables playing Warhammer 40K, right?
Right.
Now, D&D is scarce enough as it is. Warhammer 40K, they go there for the fucking table, right? And then you got your Magic the Gathering people that there's so many people who I've seen go to a game store, not just to play in the tournaments, but there's oodles and oodles of boxes of Magic the Gathering trading cards on a secondary market that Wizards is now destroying that secondary market, right? And so you're crushing them on the Magic the Gathering front. How are you you're gonna crush them unless they're gonna set up VTT terminals, accessible terminals in the game stores? You're gonna crush them in the game stores who are actually playing D&D, and you're not gonna have any books for sale. You're crushing the secondary market for Magic the Gathering. Minis, I doubt they're going to license minis the way they're doing it now because they want people to play online, right? And so you're going to have all the buy the mini online and rather than buy them in the game store. Why would you go to a game store? These guys who are just barely surviving.
We have a few years for the 3D fabricators to play out, but my prediction is that game stores will primarily be board game stores and miniature wargaming.
Yes, I agree. I absolutely.
But anything that requires that relies on the physical components. And board games, even though there are several excellent online implementations of board games, it's still like miniature war game that it's the real experience.
You need the tactile thing. Yes.
And even Magic the Gathering, I mean, if it didn't have that's why Magic, it wasn't really so much the collectible. That was just a bonus for the Wizards and the whole community, but it's a small format game. You can sit down, find an opponent, and actually physically play.
Yep.
And it was very convenient to do that, and it was tactically rich.
Yeah. I only did 2 shorts so far this channel that I got, but one of them was I had this great idea. I'm like, hey, I live about 10 minutes from another. 10 minutes from a game store, half an hour from another one, and about 40 from the big one, right? So I lived 10 minutes from the smallest one. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go talk to this game store about what they think about Wizards of the Coast with their online aspect and yada, yada. Try to get the manager there. I've not been there in about 6 or 8 months. Let me go check it out. I go all the way down there. I'm like, where is this goddamn place? I know I've not been here in a while, but I can't find it. I'm looking it up on Google Maps. And I'm like, where is this? Should be right here. And I'm looking around. It's closed. They're out of business. And then, they're gone. They're gone forever, man. And now all they do is they change their webpage and they do some sort of like beer and pretzels D&D at a local bar. It's a community group rather than a game store anymore, It's like, Jesus Christ, this is what's going to happen.
Well, which reminds me, if that's going to happen, and you need to get out here so you can go to Warzone Matrix and see it in all its glory.
I agree. I want to play with you guys in person someday, man. I want to take the road trip, Eric. We'll drive down together, man. We'll do a big road trip. We'll play with these guys. It'll be fun. Definitely. It'll be fun. We got 3 or 4 of them right around in Pennsylvania. The 4 guys you play with on Tuesday nights are all right within an hour of each other, right, Rob? I think.
Me and Tim. I mean, not Ken.
Ken's not that close.
Well, Josh is. He's an hour. Yeah. He's an hour and a half away. So
yeah. We could pull it off. I mean, you could rent a hotel, one of those little conference room things, and get a couple tables together and just play all damn day.
Yeah, we have a Hampton in town that has conference.
Yeah. We'll play all day. Rent it for $100 or just play all freaking day, man. That'd be fantastic. Yeah, we got to do it while we're all old enough or young enough to get it over.
Young enough.
Pull it off, yeah.
before we start aging out. It's like,
Yeah, exactly. That's the
It
other
would be
thing.
Meadville's second mini con after the first one we ran years ago.
That'd be awesome. I saw the pictures from that. That'd be awesome, man. We got to do it. That'd be fun. And this is the kind of stuff that the people coming in on the digital front are never going to experience because, they'll look at the analog as something that old people do or just like they used to do before this came about. And I feel bad for them. And that's why people are like, oh, why do you care? Just do it. Do whatever you do. And they do whatever they do because it's my freaking hobby that I've been playing since 1984. Rob's been playing since the dawn of time. Eric earlier than me. And this is the thing we love. This is our passion. This is what we love to do. We want to see it passed along.
I will remind you, Joe, that the board game boom is still ongoing. So don't think that the young generation is all digital. It's just that I think partly because of the pandemic, the RPG hobby has leaned hard in the online presence because what we do involves multiple groups of people, multiple people getting together.
Yes,
even more so than the board games.
Agreed.
And so I guess as a community, we were more amicable to go with the VTT route, but and now we're seeing, we can replace it entirely with the VT, but it's going to rebalance itself in the next 5 years,
we'll
or
see.
maybe
I'm
even 3
curious.
years.
I'm curious what it's gonna. I think we'll see, man. There's one thing. Humble Bundle. What's this DCC Humble Bundle they're talking about? Did you pump that, Eric?
I actually posted about it right before I got on the blog.
Oh yeah, I've never heard about this. Was it a big?
There's here. Let me get my. Let me get my.
Eric's gonna share a screen. Let's see.
Did I put it up yet? Oh, I didn't put it up yet. Oh, okay. I was working on it. All right.
If it's a substantial Humble Bundle, there's a lot of DCC titles I've not acquired yet.
Here, hold on a second. Let me get the link up. Hold on.
Is it Humble Bundle, not Bag of Holding, right?
No, it's Humble Bundle. Humble Bundle gives you better deals than Bag of Holding. Hold on. I'll where the bloody hell is it? Here we go. And
$330 for $18. No shit. Now,
yeah.
Wow.
Hold
DCC. On. All okay. All right.
I will share.
I got a lot of PDFs, but I got gaps in my collection.
All right. So hold on a second. Let me share the screen. That's the wrong screen. Remove.
I think it wasn't the porn thing you had pulled up there.
Yeah. Well, if I had that pulled up, I don't think I'd be married.
Might be beheaded soon, but yeah. All right, new perils for classic dungeon crawls. Do you have a link, Eric? You could throw up.
Now, folks, I'm going to announce this. This is an affiliate link. Okay.
All right.
I'm going to put this. This is an affiliate link that's in the chat. I will actually, because I was announcing my affiliate links before the U.S. government decided that you had to, because I always felt it was best that and nothing to be hidden. So if you happen to make a purchase through that link, you're going to put a few dollars in my pocket.
You know what I want to try with you guys? Mutant Crawl Classics.
Oh, that'd be fun. So, all right. So, quick things here. Lankmar, The Greatest Thieves, and Lankmar box set, but obviously you're not getting the box. It's a great box set.
It is. It's nice.
It is great. The Chained Coffin is a great adventure. I have the one with the special cover and all that stuff. It is just really, really well done. It's by Michael Curtis. Michael Curtis writes some of the best shit. And if it's not Michael Curtis, my second best or 1 and 1A when it comes to DCC stuff, it's Harley Stroh. Harley wrote Pearls on a Purple Planet, which is one right next to it. So those three are really great choices. If you don't have a Dungeon Crawl Classics RPG, it's included. They have a lot of other adventures. Sailors on the Starless Sea is the one where Joe decided to never play DCC again.
What?
That's the one you got the Great Ring, but you're like, I can't handle spellcasting. It's too swingy.
Yeah. That's the one. Yeah.
I always want. I mean, I want to play once with the app. It's such a good app.
The app is great. Purple Sorcerer.
Yeah.
I still have to buy the official dice because the dice I bought from somebody mentioned before, the complete strategist. I bought some dice, a pack of dice that wasn't all of them because it was just when DCC came out. I'm like, what kind of retards release a book
Yeah.
with weird dice that don't have the dice at the same time? So I bought some ghetto ass dice that were kind of some of them, but not all of them. But I do need the DCC dice at some point, you know, just because.
Tales from the Magician's Skull is basically short fiction in the sword and sorcery style. It is you'll get your money's worth. It's a little inconsistent, especially the earlier issues. It's issue 1 they're looking at right now, but I have it in print, and it was an enjoyable read. Some of the stuff was really good. When we go down to the bottom, all right, so the bottom of the page now, Dungeon Crawl Classics 81, the one who searches from below. I actually have the original pencils on that one from Doug Kovac. So I bought that at North Texas RPG Con a number of years ago. It's beautiful in that black and gray pencil sketch manner. Oh my God. Looks, I think, better than the color cover here. And then I had Joe Bittman wrote it. And when he found out that I actually had the original pencils, he sent me a signed copy of the adventure. What else do we have here? You got the screen. There's just a bunch of adventures. They are always fun to read, and I often use them for games outside of DCC because they run pretty well. Now, Magician's Skull number 6. It's on the bottom of the screen here in the middle there. I don't know if you can tell, but it actually has a Fafford and the Gray Mouser in a brand new story.
Really?
By
who? Oh, nice.
By Nathan Long. So,
how do you get the rights? Who the hell had what?
Because they had the right. They have made a deal with Fritz Lieber.
No, with the estate. I mean, he's dead wild. Yeah,
the estate, because they did the box set and a few adventures.
No shit. I didn't know they could do fiction too. Did I tell you I ever tell you that I actually emailed 1,000,000 years ago with Fritz Lieber's son?
Really?
Yeah, he was a professor at some university, and I was early days of the internet or whatever it was. I forget. It was like had to be like the late 90s, mid late 90s, and I know Lieber had died recently or something, and I was just sad. And I remember there was like bit that said son survived by son who's a professor at whatever the hell school. So I went to the school's website, looked them up. I'm like, sure as shit. There, I guess that's library is how you say it. But I'm like, there's the guy. Yeah. So I emailed them. I just said, I just wanted to say, I don't know who you or your father, but I just wanted to thank you for, I guess, your father's been a great influence in my life, and I love his books, and he's really, it had an impact on my life. I just wanted to let you know. I never got a chance to say that to him. And he just wrote back a real nice email. Thank you very much. And this and that. It was really kind of cool. It was just really, really neat, Good guy.
Marcelo, we did not get the bingo cards out yet. They will come out.
Oh, yeah.
But they're going to be mailed out through the Substack. So yeah,
okay.
The Substack is how we'll get those cards out to you.
You should have a bingo. Would that be a prize and not a giveaway if we had a bingo prize, huh?
Well, just it's a random. Hey, if you close the bingo, we're going to give you a gift.
Okay, there you go. A gift for yelling bingo, not a prize.
Yeah.
All right, that works. That's
probably why Marvel used to always have the no prize. You get no prize, but you're the winner of no prize.
Yeah. I just heard about that recently. It's pretty interesting. It's interesting. What do you guys think with the? I know, Rob, you kind of like the new Marvel stuff. Where do you think this is going? This new, the fifth, whatever what they call it. What is the fourth? Phase 4. What's Phase 5 going to be about? Where are they going to go with it? They're going to change direction over at Disney with their utter failures lately?
Well, if you remember, with Phase 2, they were talking about Infinity Stone, but let's just face it, they weren't really, we didn't know what they were, what they meant. There was speculation based on the Infinity Stone story in the comic, but it was really it felt pretty directionless. And then then the latter half, starting with Civil War, they really tightened up the story. Then we started hitting the beats that led up to Endgame. So I don't know that they're leaning hard into this multiverse thing. The next one, I'm just in wait and see. I enjoy them, but I don't see anything to date that makes me go, "Ooh, this is
Same thing
not."
with Star Wars. Like Disney is falling on stepping on their own dick. There's nothing with Star Wars that
Well,
excites me.
we're just gonna have to get our lightsabers and fight about that because
Well,
Oh yeah,
I think the Andor was the best thing Star Wars has done in
I've
a long, long
I've
time.
heard Andor
I heard that.
was a slow burn, but once it established itself, I heard it was very good.
I heard that.
One way out.
Here, let me explain to you. I have been so disappointed with recent series across all the major streaming services that I haven't even watched a single episode of um, uh, the Amazon not Lord of the Rings series,
Yeah,
and
never.
I haven't had the energy to get back into watching the new Game of Thrones series. Heard good things about it.
It's very
But
good.
I need the energy to be able to follow the different plot
How
points.
about Yellowstone? You guys watching the new
I haven't
season of
watched
Yellowstone?
Yellowstone.
Really good.
Haven't watched Andor yet.
When
I'll
it
tell you
drops
what.
on streaming, I'll watch Yellowstone. But meanwhile, I saw the prequel. I enjoyed the prequel. I enjoyed 1923.
Well,
I think what I will do next, I'll probably
But
watch.
Android Eric is well worth seeing.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, it's a series. If you got a quote like I burn my soul for a sunrise that I will never see," with Skellen Skarsgård giving it in that in the only the way he can give it,
mhm.
then it's a damn good series.
see, I don't mind a slow burn, but what I heard about Andor is that it's a resistance story that could have been set in World War II in France. It could have been set in like you name it. It could have been anywhere. There was not much Star Warsiness about it. Is that
You know
true?
what? If that's the case, I don't mind. If it's a good story, I don't mind.
True.
I mean,
I don't know. It's the Empire is the Empire. That I mean, yeah, you're right. There is no fan service, but let's face it, Joe. Star Wars is set in a galaxy far, far away and long ago, and and it's a galaxy. Not everything is Skywalkers and
I know.
Jedi.
I know.
And
I
here in
just
Andor, it's the first time. It's one of the first shows. I mean, Rogue One kind of did, but Android really nailed that one aspect of the New Hope that they never followed up. That gritty,
yeah.
everyday life that you saw with Luke and his family on Tatooine, and then the Mos Eisley bar, and then you're off into space having adventures fighting against the Empire. Wasn't light and bright, but and then the Empire. They had. I mean, there were some serious bad guys,
Yeah.
and even Darth Vader was kind of like Grand Moff Tarkin's toady. It wasn't the other way around.
Yeah.
But Andor, the Empire is that it's Moff is Tarkin, in the spirit of Tarkin. The planet that Andor starts out on is in the spirit of Tatooine. It's not a goddamn desert for once, and
Mhm.
it's got that gritty, lived-in feel. But there's only maybe a handful of fan service moment, anything that you could relate to a
If,
specific moment in another film, even though it's
if
definitely Star Wars.
if it's a good story, I'll watch it, like Eric is saying. But Rob, honestly, Disney is the one service I don't subscribe to. Like, I don't even subscribe to Paramount for Yellowstone. I just buy the new season on Amazon for 25 or 30 bucks, and I watch it as it comes out. But I don't subscribe to that. I'm on HBO Max because I keep forgetting to cancel it. And I'm on Amazon because of the Prime shipping. Actually, the other shit's just a bonus. And I'm on Netflix like I still have to finish freaking Cobra Kai. And I just watched Wednesday, which was an amazing show. Loved Wednesday, amazing show. But honestly, once I watch Cobra Kai, I'm canceling Netflix, and Disney is the furthest down my list of anything to ever subscribe to. Disney's one of those things where when what do you call it? Freaking not Boba Fett, the Mandalorian comes out, I'll watch it, and for that month, I will crank out everything I've missed in the last year on Disney.
All right, then wait until Mandalorian season 3 drop, and then you can watch Andor as well.
It's a sad thing because for all the crap they got on Disney Plus, I'll rewatch once in a while one of the old Marvel movies, but their new series aren't exciting me, and they really lost me with Book of Boba Fett. It's like, God, what the hell did I just see? What are they doing?
Book of Boba Fett, I could have done without watching.
Yeah,
it wasn't a total. Listen, there are some times when you kind of go, "This is such a waste of time," like the Shannara series.
yeah.
And I can't watch anymore. Book of Boba Fett, I wanted to finish because but it was just like
It's terrible.
It was hacky, and that and that
cheesy.
Cheesy. Yes. Now, what disappointed
Little
me,
Vespa things.
when I wasn't I was excited about initially, was What If, because I used to love the What If. When I didn't even collect Marvel comics, I collected What If, because What If stories were always the stories that took things in different directions,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't the first What If.
Elseworld for me.
You know, with the first What If just didn't do it for me. I was like, I appreciated the characters, and I was like, but there was just nothing that made you want to tune in for the next one, if this is how they're going to handle it. Now, maybe I'll feel something different. I don't even know.
Midway, it starts to tie together.
All right, because in the beginning, I was just like, I couldn't feel it, and
I thought they were all standalone until midway. Then I realized, oh, they're going to connect this somehow, and then it picks up the last 2 or 3 episodes. I forgot, but
all right, so
I'm not going to spoil it. But
no,
just say there's a villain, an alternate villain that turns out to be the major bad guy, and all those characters you see have a part to play in that final showdown.
I mean, when it comes to it's Paramount, what used to be CBS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. When the newest Star Trek series comes back, Brave New Worlds,
Yeah.
I'll return. I'll watch that. I am not watching any more Discovery. No more of that.
I quit after season 3,
and I can't do Picard.
Picard. I actually heard, Eric, the next season of Picard is going to be amazing. It has Robert Meyer Burnett has seen it through twice. He's one of these guys in Hollywood. He does a lot of shit. He's on various channels, and he has his own channel. He's seen it twice, and he is a diehard Star Trek fan in my way. Like, he likes the shit I like. He hates the thing that, Rob, you like. They say is fantastic. The new Spock going back with the dude who ended up in the wheelchair. That series, Captain Pike series.
Yeah,
He hates that.
I don't hate. Listen, I like it enough that it feels more like Star Trek than any of the other Star Trek series they've tried to play with. Discovery doesn't feel like Star Trek.
I'm with Eric.
Yeah, I know you both are, but here's my point I'm making is that Robert Meyer Burnett has the same mindset as me, as he hates that shit because it's derivative, and he says he's seen the new series because he works in Hollywood. He's got he's seen them. He's seen it, the new Picard season 3 twice through. He says you don't need to see 1 and 2 at all because this is a send off to the entire crew of the Next Generation. They are all in it. And the directors, producer, showrunners, whatever you want to call it, they went to all these guys. They went to whoever plays Deanna Troi, Riker, all these guys, and they said, what do you foresee your character having done in the last whatever X decades? And they had collaborative work with people who love their characters and love their roles, been playing it for decades themselves. And so they're writing a final blow a kiss farewell to the Next Generation with this season. And so that I will subscribe to for that month. Other than that, done.
Well, guess what, Joe? You'll get to see 1883 and 1923 as well.
Why? Oh, because they're on that thing. Yeah, I won't. I don't know if I'll watch that, Rob. I'm not so much into the Western thing at all. I don't care about Westerns. I do like Yellowstone for its modern. You know what I mean?
The one that has
I don't know. I mean, they're very well written for those kind of for period shows. So
I don't doubt it. The only Western I've ever liked was Tombstone and Unforgiven. Other than that,
man, The Unforgiven was
amazing,
solid shit. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Well, I will say 1883 has Sam Elliott in it.
It does. It doesn't also have.
And Sam Elliott is in fine form in that show.
Yeah, he's still alive. Christ, he was pushing.
Oh, he's alive and kicking.
He was pushing it way back in Tombstone days, wasn't he? Yeah, that was fun.
It turns out recruiting Tim McGraw and Faith Hill as the lead wasn't a half bad move.
Did you guys see? Speaking of movies, did you see the Top Gun movie with Tom Cruise, the latest one?
I'm halfway through it.
So good. So
Yeah,
good.
it's on Paramount now. So
I love it.
as of yesterday.
I bought it on Prime because that's where I get all my stuff because I know I'm never getting rid of Prime because I like the free shipping. I live off of
Right.
Prime, right? And so I'm like, you know what? I'm from everything I've heard, I know I'm going to like this movie so much. I'm going to watch it again it's one of those every 8 or 10 months. You know what I mean? And so it was so good. God, it was just what a movie should be. Callbacks that weren't gratuitous, to the original one. Good story. You know where it's going to go. It didn't fucking matter. It was just enjoyable to go there. Holy shit, it was good. Holy shit.
I never particularly cared for Tom Cruise. I mean, I didn't hate him like Tim hates him
Tim
and my
hates him for
wife
some
hates
reason.
him.
I don't know why.
I
Tim hates him so
I
much.
find some of Tom Cruise like I enjoyed him in War of the Worlds because he didn't play Tom Cruise in that film. He was a blue collar asshole. And he really did play a blue collar asshole. And well, there was one time Tom Cruise moment in there, but aside from that, he did a good job. And I watched this video on YouTube where it shows his prep for the next Mission Impossible, and I gotta say, I was kind of impressed.
Yeah, he's a real
I
deal.
mean,
Yeah.
he did this thank you for the fan. There were two of them. One was
Yeah.
a thank you for the fan. He's riding in a helicopter. There's
Yeah, did you
noise.
see that?
It's a thank you. Then he leaps off the helicopter, and somehow they still got the camera on
Yeah.
him, and he's
Yeah.
just chatting away, free
Not
falling.
away. All you
from
would have seen
10,000 feet.
that was me, all you would have seen was a massive pile of shit and piss hit the camera lens because that's all I would be doing if I ever jumped out of the helicopter. All right, just done. I'd be passing out and I shit my pants and I'd splat on the ground dead.
And then the second video with him doing the most awesome, showing what they were doing for what they could said the most awesome stunt in the next Mission Impossible movie was where they run a motorcycle off the cliff and then do a base jump basically and parachute away. And Tom Cruise does his own stunt.
He's amazing. Like he's pushing 60. This guy.
And they were showing how they started out in England with a ball, basically a pit of foam and stuff and harnesses on the motorcycle and them, and the whole rig was set up so he could practice. And they had a camera on him, and he participated in the analysis. Oh, I see. If I held my body that way, I go this way, and he's really taking the time as a craftsman to get the shot run. And then they switched to the actual stunt, and it turns out they didn't just do it once. He did it 6 different times to get 6 different takes so they can splice together the best piece. And when he did it 6 different times, he did it for real 6 different times.
Yeah.
He went down a ramp, launched in the area, held his body just so, and at the right moment he let go of this motorcycle, and then he's
something else. This guy. And Bob, you're right. It's funny you mentioned Lestat. I just saw the interview with a vampire again. My brother and I with his daughters because they're 14-year-old girls, so we're like perfect age for interview with a vampire kind of thing, So yeah, we watched it with them and they enjoyed it. I think it was, and he was such a good actor in Lestat. He was good in Born on the 4th of July. He was in that movie with, oh God, where he played the like the producer or something. It was a Vietnam War movie with, oh shit!
It was Born on the 4th of July.
No. The guy who played Blackface, where Robert Downey Jr. played the Blackface guy.
Oh,
what the hell was that called?
Thunder? No,
Yes.
No.
Yes. He played that dude, the producer dude in Tropic Thunder. I didn't know it was him until the end credits. I'm like, who was Tom Cruise?
Right.
I'll go back. I'm like, who the hell was Tom Cruise in this movie?
He wanted to be in the role. I think he did it for like 15,000 or something like that. He did it for way less. But he didn't want to advertise that he was in the movie. He didn't want it to be. He just wanted to be in it.
Yeah.
The movie to be. Tropic Thunder was a lot of fun. Can never be made today.
Oh God, no. It even took shit for the blackface back then. Remember?
Yep.
Are we demonetized yet, Eric?
No.
No.
I don't know. Let me check.
What is it that does it every week? Because if I'm going to start doing live streams,
I was probably the fault with
James
Draggy comment.
No, we're good. We're good. We haven't been demonetized yet, so I would assume.
What is it I mean, I know the words you can't say, but what else is it?
No, sorry, I had to refresh the page. We are limited.
What the hell happened? What happened? What did we say?
Vagina. I said vagina there.
Yeah, there you go.
It just went up a tick.
All right, because the last time I had a live stream that was put on limited was
Us again, probably.
December 9th. Yep.
Us, yeah.
Yep.
What do we say that gets us
And then
screwed?
November 18th limited.
Us, probably.
Us. Yeah.
Is it the F-bomb? Because I thought
I say
on...
dude, I say F-bombs all the time. So I don't know what it is. I used to think it was Matt that got us demonetized.
You need to get a second monitor and have it at the status. Oh, there it is. We got them on.
Yeah.
Oh,
when you say
I
the
should.
word.
I should put. I have a second monitor. I should leave it up on the side and just refresh.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, I'm going back, and every random party generator
gets demonetized.
Me and Glenn were demonetized on November 4th.
Wonder what the hell we say.
I don't. You know what? It's only the Friday night shows. You know, it could be that YouTube only pays attention on Friday nights. I don't know.
I wonder what the hell we say. That's interesting. I mean, other than the F-bomb, we didn't really get into so much shit.
No.
We didn't say any kind of.
We should have a show where we all read nursery rhymes and see if we get demonetized.
Yeah, maybe it's us. Maybe they just don't like us. God, I don't know, man. Nice hat, by the way, Rob. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. I mentioned it. What?
It's a Scottish tam. I wore it. Wait for it. LARP. My Highlander character in the LARP. But then I found out. So I ordered this from J. Townsend and Son. They have decent price for period garb, and it turns out this kept my head warm, despite the temperature being only 3 degrees Fahrenheit. So
and you got no hair otherwise, so that's a good deal. Yeah. I was telling Rob before the show he had an appropriate background because it's cold as balls up here. And I said, that's good, Rob. All you need now is
I'll have another bingo item. This is what happens when you roll on the Harn weather table.
There you go.
Here, since we had a question, yes, you can see on the top of the screen there, it says limited.
Why?
Now, they don't tell you why. Add suitability is always what the excuse is. So apparently we are never suitable for ads. So that doesn't mean that you get nothing. It means you just get nothing. I mean, it isn't like a copyright violation where you are still getting ads, but all the money goes to, I don't know, Amazon or wherever else we pissed off. And by the way, next time we're gonna look at trailers of a movie. We are gonna do it with the volume of the movie of the trailer turned off.
Yeah.
And I can almost guarantee you, well, if it's us, we're gonna still be limited, but we're not gonna get a copyright issue because apparently the copyright issue only picks up audio, doesn't pick up video.
Dude, what's with you and Rachel having 85% likes? Just who's disliking a health video? What kind of moron dislikes a health video?
All right, so I was disappointed in myself. So last Saturday, was it last Saturday? Yeah, I think it was last.
It's like the 10th. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was. Was it I guess last Saturday, or maybe it was the Saturday before that. I don't. It all melds. I was doing a game with Health. I think we had Shannon with us, so it must have been the weekend before that. And somebody pops on. Mario Real. If you don't know who Mario Real is, I suspect who Mario Real is. But Mario Real came on and started making comments like I should report on Real News, and which obviously the comment that says that I am obviously a reporter, but I should report on Real News. So I instinctually, expecting some bad shit to come out of somebody's online typing, put this person in a 5-minute timeout, but then they just left. So I didn't get a chance to screenshot everything. So if anybody did, I'd love it because I never put it up on the screen. It's what I normally do to make sure even if they happen to remove themselves as a subscriber, I still have the words on the screen. It's been used in the past. But
interesting. I never thought about that. It makes sense.
Yeah, because if you limit the live chat to only subscribers, if they unsubscribe or you boot somebody, their chat's gone forever.
Oh.
But if you put it up on the screen, then it's there forever.
Did not know that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one more thing about the hat. It has a pin that my wife got me. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it says the Dungeon Meowster. It is a cat holding the D20.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So the next Shire Con, I will have the hat and I will be not just a DM, but a dungeon meowster.
Meowster. Somebody mentioned before that they played with you in ShireCon. I still remember your game, Rob.
Yep, that was Helen.
Helen said that. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, I remember Helen. She was.
Yeah.
She actually took charge for most of the game.
That was
She
the
did
game.
a good job.
Was
And
that the
she
game I
avoided-
played?
Huh?
Was that did I play with her in your game, in that game, or is it a different game that she played in?
She played in the Seats of the Russet Lord adventure.
So not me then, because I didn't play that one.
They managed to resolve it without having. They foiled the plan to the Russet Lord without ever confronting the Russet Lord, which only a few groups have managed to do, and her group was one of them.
It was funny because me, my brother, and Matt were out there. We got the cooler of beer. We're sitting under a tree with the lawn chairs, just because the second half of the day we played the first half. The second half was just drinking and chilling out. Eric was playing in a 5e game. Rob, you had just started this Russet Lord game, and he came out in like an hour and a half. And I'm like, "What, are you taking a break?" And like, "Well, no, we're done." I'm like, "Did you kill them all, motherfucker? What happened? What'd you do?" And he's like, "No, they beat it." I'm like, "What?" It's like ours took several sessions, right?
I will say that Helen and her friend that was there, I'm not sure it was her husband or not, but they were Harn players, and the other players were Harn adjacent.
You mentioned that Harn for the win there. I remember you saying that.
And they knew exactly how to handle the people in the village.
Okay.
So they all did a good job. The mage, the mage sat back, but there was this one moment he came through, and it helped the party. And
nice.
They just got the village to cooperate and resolve the issues with the conflict between the abbey and the knight and the peasants. And
all right. Oh, speaking of games, we got all start new games here because Greg is going to be running Ars Magica for us. Rob, you're going to keep going with your game. Yeah, I'm starting my 2E game soon. My solo session should be starting over the next few weeks. My brother, I think we'll do him first, maybe Dwayne, and then you and Vance. And Eric, you're starting a new game, right?
Yeah.
What do you got going on, man? When is it going to be played? What's shaking?
Probably going to be Monday nights.
All right.
You know what I might do too, if depending on Greg wants to do his, I'll probably be like, tell Greg, hey, listen, you run an arc with yours for 3 or 4 weeks. Then we take a break. I'll run an arc for 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay.
We'll take a break because listen, I do live streams 3 days a week. I've got Discord Hangout 1 day a week. I got to find at least one. I go out to the pub on Tuesdays, so at least Sunday, Monday for me. So and Bad Mike, I went back, by the way, just now, a year and a half, and the only demonetizations was this live stream, one time with Glenn, one time on Gamers Health when I was talking about 9/11. Because I guess that was, I don't know, a topic that they don't like people talking about. I have no idea. Otherwise, all the demonetizations and the copyright claim were on Friday nights with this group. So
I wonder if
welcome to Random Party Generator, the R-rated podcast of the OSR.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, because if Eric, were the old Iron Rations when it was just me and you demonetized, or was Rob the cause of all this?
I only went back a year and a half. I was just looking for
oh, cool. So Rob Banks was one of the players too. Sorry,
cool.
I didn't remember that.
Nice.
Yeah, so you're gonna maybe alternate with Greg then, do an arc, back and forth. Yeah. And I'm thinking too, what I want to do with the 2E game, guys, is like, I know Tim's not gonna be a regular; he's a drop-in guy. Right. And Eric, you might be a drop-in here and there on a Saturday night, right? You said.
Oh, if Rach and I want to do like a Gamers Health and pre-record it. Do it as a premiere. We could probably do that.
Yeah, you could roll up a guy and just play him. You know what I mean? Everyone, and just get a solo, get used to the thing, and then you could have a guy in there, basically. So if you ever want to drop in on a Saturday, because as long as we get a core group, and everybody's playing fighters, or I think Dwayne might play a thief. You got 3 fighters and a thief. It should be fucking interesting. I don't know how this is gonna work, but it should be fun. Yeah.
Helen said they shook down the Abbot. Yep, and actually, that's consistent. 2 other groups. I've played this about 9 times now. Play tested the adventure about 9 times, and all the groups that had the biggest success were those who shook down the Abbott starting was Tim Shorts, so the one he played.
Yep.
Well, didn't we have Greg in our group? So if I remember right, Greg probably started a fight. That's his style.
You were trying to deal with the riot in front of the tavern.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. It's funny how Greg is just, we got, the barbarian Viking warrior type in your city state game walking around and like, yeah, we all got these plans. And then Greg shows up, this Viking. It's like, I'm going to prep healing and battle spells. Why? We're going to a tavern because his barbarian's going to a tavern with us. That's why.
Hey, look how Greg handled those spies in City State.
Yeah, he did well.
Didn't really do much finesse there.
No. And I'm quite proud of myself. I won the fight from sitting in the inn on my table, having a beer, casting whole persons out the window at the bad guys. That was pretty impressive. I gotta say, that was a cool move. That was worthy of Lestat. That was pretty slick, I gotta say.
I like how you guys are actually playing out living as adventurers in that city. I mean, we had several sessions now where we didn't get into a fight.
Yeah.
And several sessions where everything went down. So
I like that kind of thing though. I like to mix it up. Like I've done my brother and I in his game when it was just me and him playing. We go 2 sessions in a row sometimes. I mean, like 4 or 5 hour sessions, 10 hours straight of just role playing. And the next thing you know, we got 3 sessions just fighting. Or some mixture of the two. But I don't mind that. I don't mind the role. I know Tim hates the shopping trips, but
for those in the audience don't know, my Majestic Waterlands campaign for, I would say, the last 15 years, a lot of it, people have ventured mostly in other areas. And when it was a city adventure, it was over in Verdistan, what Judges Guild called City State of the World Emperor. Now, Verdistan is completely different in my campaign because of what the PCs did back in the 80s and 90s. So it's actually more of a good place, and players prefer it. Well, City State, again, because of PCs, became a much darker place.
Mm-hmm.
So last year, Tim goes, guys, you really should. Let's have a City State campaign so we can get back to City State itself and get Rob back in it, and you guys can experience what it's like to be in the actual city. So that's what we've been doing.
So it's a good lessons on how to run a city game, Rob. If you ever could, I know you're doing how to do your sandbox thing over there, but have you ever done one for the city game? Have you ever done?
To be honest, I when I started this campaign, I realized I've forgotten a lot of what I knew, and I'm getting my mojo back.
You should write something up, man. Seriously,
I think I will.
It's good. It's a very overlooked aspect of old school plays because nobody does it. People use the city as a place to go buy shit, sell shit, go to a tavern, get leads, and get out of town. That's it, right? And so, but Rob, we're in the city, and we're all part of a city, and it's just been. I've learned a lot from it. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. We realized this, last session. I look back at my old notes. We played since like June or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going on for a while, and it goes fast, but it's like wow. It's pretty impressive, and we're doing pretty good. I mean, we just hit 5th level, playing since June. 20 sessions ish, something like that. So we're doing pretty good on that. Old school style, taking a long time to level up, but it's going nice.
The shorthand version for those of you listening is that it's a combination of what these characters are. Like Joe is a priest of Nasias, the goddess of wealth, fate, and pleasure, and Greg is a Viking prince who family lost the kingdom, so he's in exile. And we have a mage who's a member of the Order of Thoth, and then we have Josh who's playing an herbalist rogue type. Everybody calls him a thief, but
he takes great offense at that.
Yeah,
an herbalist, good sir. You sleep pretty good for an herbalist, motherfucker.
So there's some of the stuff are like plot oriented, like it originates from their background, but a lot of it is me rolling random stuff and just fitting it. It's like living in New York City. You don't know who you're going to meet every day. Most of the time, it's your usual drill, but periodically you get a random encounter.
Yeah, and it's everything you encounter. You don't know if it's a random encounter or Rob's plot hook or whatever. So you just play it like it's a real thing, like as if you're living in the city. And there's the level of my old motto has been like, you're a nobody from nowhere, you're a farmer's boy kind of thing. Don't write this 48-page elaborate backstory because it won't fucking matter except to you. Whereas in a city state, it's a completely different thing. I'm playing a priest. I have a place in the hierarchy of the priesthood, and that gives me a place within the hierarchy of the city, which I didn't realize coming into it. But I'm trying to embrace it and roll with it, and Greg playing his Viking guy from a place outside that was conquered. He's a banished Viking prince or whatever. That's rolling. He's rolling into that as well. So in the city, you have a place. You have a place in a social hierarchy, and you have a million interacting cogs, wheels, and pieces in the city. So that you take a shit in one place, next thing you know, it's like the butterfly flapping his wings. It's going, you know what I mean? It's like it's going to affect something in another place.
Well, okay, so I don't I don't want to brag because what I actually do is not everything is fleshed out. I just have a good idea of how details would fit in if they were to come up.
That's because you've been running for 40 years. Literally,
Yeah, but you
right?
could do it for a new place if you approach it the right way. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, experience does count. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but I think I can explain in a way that a novice could get a semblance of that going, and then build upon that for subsequent campaign if they go
That's what you
around.
need
And
to
it's
do,
not as
Rob. Yeah.
it's work, but it's not as much work as they think.
Yeah.
So a lot of it, because when I roll a random encounter, I'm thinking, okay, what could this be? What's in the context of what they know?
hmm
And then actually I would assign a probability. I roll. It's not always 50-50, but I'll roll
Yeah.
to see if it is actually something related to something you're doing, or it is truly a random encounter. So
hmm
that's what happened with you and that herbalist guy you work for.
Yeah. Yeah.
I rolled that, okay, this is somebody they're going to know that ran into them.
Yep.
But there were other times, like those beggars that came up to you last session,
Yeah. Yeah.
though that was a true random encounter that was totally new.
Played off for Greg, though. Well, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you need to put in your video or your write up or whatever you do. That's excellent.
Right.
I think. Hey, Eric? Don't we have a special show next week?
Yes, we do.
Something?
And Mike was asking about that.
Yeah.
Talking Crit Wednesday. Rob, Joe, missing compatriots are all invited. We'd like
Okay.
to fill the screen up like we're watching one of those I don't know, one of those lawyers talking about like some current trial. And there's nine YouTubers on at once.
hmm
We want to fill the screen up, so we'll have Glenn. And guess what? We're probably going to wind up delving into deeper, Wizards of the Coast in general.
Yeah.
We want to talk about the biggest shit that's been laid in the hobby in the last year, and I'm sure that Wizards of the Coast owns a couple of them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm going to say fight on, make open 5e, leave them behind in the dust.
there you
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
I mean,
agree.
I'll analyze the open game license and what they're doing all day. But if you want to know what I think should be done, I think we should take ownership of our hobby, make open 5e a reality. Somebody make open 5e a reality. I apologize for being just an advocate on it, but as Joe saw, I took a stab at making my 5e rules. I'm going to go with this. I only got 12 levels, maybe 14 to deal with. I'm not going to go 20 levels for every damn thing I want to do. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's. I think that's a good way to end it. Fucking somebody do the 5e license, man. Somebody make a 5e clone, basically. Please do it.
open 5e. Just
There you
Open
go.
5e.
spread the
There you
name,
go.
whatever form it takes. That should
Yeah.
what it be. Open 5e.
Yeah.
Anybody can come and play. It's still 5th edition,
Mm-hmm.
but it's your 5th
Rob in
edition.
the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go. Rob, it's rocking.
I really got to check that mirror option, but then again, it doesn't work out well when I hold up a book.
Folks, that means listen. There will probably be a live stream tomorrow night with Rach and I, Gamers Health. I'm assuming we're going to be doing it at 9:00. Just trying to figure out the schedule. It's Christmas weekend, so whether you are somebody who's been celebrating Hanukkah or there's other holidays from other religions around this time, December seems to be pretty big for religious holidays. Whether you're celebrating Christmas, or not, I think I can speak for all of us. We wish you a blessed holiday season. It is now 10 degrees here in New York City.
Mm,
It started out at 52. So
the
Ha
hell's that now?
it's a day that got cold.
Rob's gonna brag. Rob's gonna temperature brag here.
You know,
Yeah, I'm gonna temperature brag. All right, let's see.
Let's see. I gotta look mine up now too. We're all temperature bragging. All right, I got
Negative
16.
-2. Take that.
-2. Holy.
All right. I got 16, but it feels like -1.
Oh, well, Joe, you're warm and balmy.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
16,
it's not
but
even showing
-1.
me the wind chill. It says it's
Oh,
windy
yeah.
though, so the wind chill was probably.
I got southwest at 13 miles an hour. Wind gusts up to 29. Humidity at 49%.
Thank you, Helen. Well, listen, ChireCon will be there. I know Tom is saying that there'll be a Saturday night
Okay.
kickoff
I
at
got it.
ChireCon.
The temperature feels, because of the wind, it feels like -25.
There you
where
go.
I'm at.
There you go. You know what? I think once you hit single digits, it doesn't make a
It
difference.
doesn't make a difference. As soon as it's cold enough for your nuts to freeze and fall off, it doesn't make a difference.
So, hey, I watched this video series called
Uh-oh.
Camping with Steve, and he lives in Edmonton, and he just posted a video of him and his buddy camping in -40-degree weather.
Well, better him than us.
Yeah. I am Bishop.
Yeah.
I am not going to GaryCon, but announcement. I think I put it up on my little thing and a little short on this is that I made reservations for the hotel and I bought my tickets for North Texas this year. I'm fucking finally going.
Rachel's heard you from the other room. And she
Yeah.
goes, "Woo!"
Yeah. It's got about a plane ticket. I'm going to wait.
I will probably, it's to Helen who asked, I will probably be back at ChireCon.
Yep. And so is Matt.
I'll probably do the same thing, blast it driving. And
Yeah. And I think Tim is talking about being at ShireCon next year too, man. So we got Matt, we got Tim, we got
although
me,
I probably
Rob,
will
Eric.
hook up a room near there rather
Well,
than.
like I said, Tom was talking about having a Friday night session at ChireCon. So that
I saw he posted it. It's not just talk; it's actually happening.
Oh, you're
I
right.
saw
You're
that.
right. It's actually
it's on.
So,
it's on.
My next convention, and actually, I was emailed by one of the organizers. Wanted to know, hey, I didn't see it last TotalCon. Are you going to be there this year? And I was like, game plan is TotalCon, and then I believe Rising Phoenix Con might be in April. It's also in Massachusetts.
TotalCon.
That's a pencil. That's a pencil in. TotalCon is it's an ink.
It's February, right?
Yeah. So TotalCon is in ink. Rising Phoenix Con is in pencil. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm invited to another convention that I don't know if I can swing it because that one I'd have to fly to. And then North Texas in June is a guarantee, unless like I lose a foot or something like that. And I don't
Someday I'll get out to North Texas. Maybe when I hit it big on Kickstarter or something.
There you go.
That's it.
And,
TotalCon is 61 days.
Provided that we have instead of like we had COVID, now we have triple threat.
Yeah.
Well, you have the endemic, you have flu season, and then you have the respiratory
RSV. And in New York, you got
flu
polio.
shot, people.
You got polio in New York City, for fuck's sake.
But
Polio.
consult your doctors and make sure there's no medical problem.
Joe, I'll explain that all to you after this.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll tell.
Is it a polio conspiracy?
No, but I'll tell you off air why that's not really a real scare.
All right.
Just I don't want people going, oh my God. So in any case, folks, as was brought up, use your common sense. All right, get your shots. Listen, my parents just had COVID over the last week and a half.
Mine too, 3 weeks ago.
They both tested negative today. Rachel and I have been testing each other every other day. We've been alternating.
Good.
So we were COVID free, so we could finally visit a friend of ours that is in home hospice. We hadn't seen in almost 2 weeks. I didn't want to expose John, so it was good to see him today and give him his Christmas present. So again, we love you all. Well, maybe one or two exceptions, but we do love you all, and we want to be watch the show, enjoy being part of our community, and that requires you to be healthy. Really, we only have the best wishes for you. As always, be safe, be well, God bless. Roll those dice, roll them well. Have a blessed Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy
Merry
Hanukkah,
Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays.
A very holy holiday season. And we'll see you, oh my God, right before the new year. Oh no, we won't. That week.
Remember, the spirit of Christmas is giving, so feel free to give Eric
we're off for 2
super
weeks.
tips.
Yeah. I'll have the Humble Bumble post up
I may
Probably.
not make it Wednesday. I got people in town from Boston who don't get here that often. There might be coming
Okay.
by Wednesday. So, but
Okay.
other than that, yeah.
Okay. Hopefully we see the
Oh,
show.
by the way, Rob Banks, thank you for your compliment on my game.
I don't know if the TotalCon wants masks this year.
I'm not seeing it. I'm looking at it here. I don't see anything that pops up on their basic page.
Yeah, I know. Last year they did.
Oh, here it is. COVID policy. Attendees may wear masks if they feel comfortable doing so. Game masters may select that masks are required to play by selecting yes. You and your players are agreeing to no food at the table during the event. Obviously, you can have a mask. Attendees may not harass, talk, bother, or question an attendee for the mask choice. This is considered harassment of the violating person, may be penalized up to ejection from the convention with no refund.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. COVID policy will be updated as situations change, so check back regularly. All right, it's a Massachusetts thing, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Don't question somebody's decision.
If I'm in that kind of a tight space, I mean, I just got a week ago my latest, like the 5th COVID shot, the booster with all the other stuff in it, you know. If I'm in that tight of a space, I'll probably wear a mask. I mean, it's tight there. It was. I remember that I went there. That was the last thing I went to pre-COVID. Was that convention?
If you're gaming in what would be a restaurant, sitting at a booth, it's
tight.
That's pretty damn tight.
The halls were tight. The hallways where you guys had your exhibit that year, that was tight. Everything was tight.
Yeah. So, but again, as long as it's optional,
yeah,
I'm good with that.
And co-sponsored Northwind. All right, good deal.
Love nearly all of you. God bless. Be safe.
Bye, guys.